Good evening. It is Monday, March 25th of the year 2024, Common Era. I'm joined by my co-host Sam McGilligan, back from an illness that put you out of commission quite a bit, eh? How you doing?
That sucked.
It sucked.
Hello.
Yeah.
I keep trying to not miss these things, and then something new comes up, and it's like, hey, have you thought about missing it for this reason?
Exactly. Yeah, we're just going through the motions. It happens. There's illness going around. It's all good. But if you're feeling better, then I'm feeling better. You know,
I'm feeling better. So
Excellent.
You're feeling better.
Yeah, exactly. Excellent. We're also joined by Mr. Producer AJ Jadaro. AJ, how are you, Mr. Friend?
I'm doing well. I won my league again. That's 4 for 5.
yeah.
I am the champion.
Yeah. AJ's fantasy watch comes to a conclusion today. Is that it, or is there another league?
Yesterday?
Okay, yeah.
4 years. All
4
right. Championships.
So
5 years. I'm feeling good.
Hey,
feeling really good.
Your rent is now paid for the next 2 months.
Exactly. Actually.
There you go. Nailed it. Yep, I remember those days. Anyway, welcome to Scouching Live. I am, of course, Will Scouch. We're brought to you by Fanatics. You can use our affiliate link code in the description below or scan the QR code in the chat window to provide a small kickback to the show on everything you buy in the store. We're also brought to you by Puck Preps Hockey, where my co-host and I, Sam McGilligan, well, I'm not Sam McGilligan, but my co-host is Sam McGilligan. We write about the NCAA and some CHL prospects across the 3 CHL leagues for their entry drafts and the recruitment classes for the NCAA. We're also brought to you by Fractal Hockey Consulting, which is my business for hand-tracked targeted player analysis and recruitment packages for the NCAA Europe and beyond, with solutions for any of your organization's needs. Again, if you are a player at the U Sports or NCAA Division 1 or 3 level, or aging out of the Canadian Hockey League, you can get in touch with the show, and we'll put you in touch and get you registered for the Golden Bucket Tournament if you are looking for opportunities in Europe. The team in Dunkirk, France, just signed up as a team that will be at the tournament. So, yeah, there will be teams from Finland, Spain, France, Germany, I want to say Switzerland and Austria. I could be wrong. There's a bunch of teams showing up. It's going to be a good time. End of May in Montreal. It's a good time. Anyway, and we're also brought to you, of course, by Scouching.ca, where you can get exclusive access to innovative data tools with unparalleled insights into draft prospects and players making their way into the NHL, as well as a really fun Discord server where lots and lots of good discussions happen, especially today when there was some good stuff to chat about. But anyway, today on the show, we're going to be talking a little bit more, as always, about the increasingly interesting playoff picture, especially out in the Eastern Conference. We're going to talk a little bit about Tom Wilson getting a pretty hefty suspension for doing what he did. We'll chat about that.
Shock.
Yeah, of course. We've got a couple of games this week that we're all very, very interested in watching, coming out of that playoff discussion. And this week we've got 2 players on the docket for AJ's one-day scouting extravaganza. Both of them were on the recommendation of my wonderful co-host, Mr. Sam McGilligan.
I make bad recommendations.
We'll get there. We'll get there, but we'll have some fun with that one. So stay tuned for that. And of course, if you have any questions for the show, please put them in the chat, and we'll get to them as soon as we possibly can. In the back half of the show, I should say. So to start the show off, though, we're going to be talking about a pair of new 50 goal scorers in the NHL this season, in Zach Hyman and Sam Reinhart. Zach Hyman, of course, of the Edmonton Oilers, noted line mate of Connor McDavid, and Sam Reinhart, noted just guy who scores a bunch of goals for the Florida Panthers.
Noted author.
No,
noted
yeah, you go right ahead.
No, I'm not going to do it. It's too long.
Zach Hyman does have quite the long resume as a human being, which is pretty impressive. And now he can add 50 goal scorer to it.
Yes, he can.
AJ, I'm going to start with you. You're the Leaf guy here.
Yes.
Does it hurt you, or do you feel happy that Leaf superstar Zach Hyman is a 50 goal scorer just with a different team?
You know what? I actually feel a great sense of joy for him. I will admit that I was on board with just letting him walk, because at the time it didn't make sense to keep him. Like, they needed to invest more in just making sure that they had room for other guys. And now, William Nylander got his money. Everybody's been getting their money, right? And those guys are well worth it. But I'm just so happy for Zach Hyman, because he's just a good dude. He's a good dude that works his tail off. And he even said it in the interview he had last night, where it's just like, I've been a grinder my whole life, and it's awesome that he could even be there, but he's had a lot of help from playing with a lot of great players, and his whole career, it's just been, well, he played with Larkin. Oh, well, he played with Matthews, and now he played with McDavid, but there's a reason he plays with those players. It's because he is an elite complementary player.
Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that.
That sounds
bad.
I like good complementary players.
Oh yeah, you got to have them. And I mean, it definitely adds an interesting dimension to the Montreal Canadiens. Someone asked a chat question about the Montreal Canadiens.
I was like,
it adds a nice dimension to the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh yeah.
Too, because also watching the Oilers quite a bit this season. I think both AJ and I have watched a lot of the Oilers this year, largely because of our graphic designer, Mr. Rayan, who is just a massive Oilers fan. But anyway, we've watched a lot of them this year, and you know what? If you ever want to see a player where it's like, here's your job, go out and do it, and you're gonna get rewarded for it, Zach Hyman is an excellent version of that. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all, especially when you're playing with Connor McDavid.
Especially when you're playing with Connor McDavid. Makes it just, look, you need a guy who goes out there and does a lot of the things that McDavid doesn't do. And Hyman seems to have that perfect chemistry. I mean, Crosby's had guys like Hyman playing with
Brian Rust.
Yeah, it was exactly what I was going to say. Crosby's had guys like Brian Rust throughout his career.
Who's the guy who went to the Olympics? Chris Kunitz.
I was just about to say Mr.
Kunitz. Remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Zach Hyman's going to go to the Olympics off of Connor McDavid. It would be kind of the same thing.
I did find it interesting too that both of these guys who scored 50 goals, they were on the team that lost, and both of those games were pretty lopsided shot differential games. The Sens Jonas Corposalo decided to have a fantastic night against the Edmonton Oilers, and the Philadelphia Flyers just let everything in the other night. It was a rough. Some of those were really, really rough. But in any case, good couple of games. I mean, Sam Reinhart, we can chat about him a little bit because he's a guy who, I mean, second overall pick, I think you said, to the Buffalo Sabres.
Yep.
Kind of struggled a little to find his footing.
Aaron Ekblad, too.
Behind Aaron Ekblad.
Yep. In 2014, goes second overall. Looks solid right away. Like there's reason to believe in him, but then the shiny toy and Eichel shows up. The Buffalo rebuild fails in 2016, and then fails in 2017, and then fails in 2018. I don't remember what year Reinhart stopped playing.
I was just going to ask you what year you think he got traded in.
2021.
Well, thanks for spoiling it.
I was going to say 2020.
Because I feel like Reinhardt's been a Panther forever.
Yeah,
but maybe that's just the pandemic brain.
I think it's pandemic brain twisting it because I do remember it being later than that.
Right. So yeah, they took him off center. It seems he's been usually a right winger for the Panthers over the last little while.
With Barkov, I think quite a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing to me about Sam Reinhart in preparation for the show, I just watched a bunch of his goals from this season just to see what happens, and some of them are the most hilarious goals I've seen in a long time.
Goal
there was one against Tampa a little while ago. Where Vasilevsky came out to play the puck, just kind of loosely played it right to him, and he just banked it right off of Vasilevsky's foot and into the net. But they don't ask how, they ask how many, and he's got a lot more than I do. Who was he traded for? I'm curious if you remember who he was traded for.
Actually,
Mackey.
No, it was more than it became Mackey.
It was the pick that became Samoskevich.
It became Mackey Samoskevich, but it was Devin Levi in a first-round pick. Which I forgot that's what.
That's what the trade.
Yeah, Devin Levi and a first-round pick. That's what it was.
It's almost like that left my brain entirely. I remember it now.
Yeah, that's not a bad trade-off.
That's actually quite great value in hindsight.
A guy who has scored like 120 goals now with the Florida Panthers over the last 3 seasons, which is not so bad. Not so bad in this day and age. So kudos to him. Kudos to the Florida Panthers who continue to roll through this season.
Am I crazy about the Mackey thing? I think I'm getting that confused. Actually.
Oh yeah, no. Buffalo used that pick on. It was a 2022 pick, so it wouldn't have been maybe Oslin. No, because the Panthers went to the Kulich. It's probably the Kulich pick.
Okay.
Which I don't think Buffalo really minds all that much, even though Sam Reinhart is a 50-goal scorer. But
yeah, I mean, but Sam Reinhart wasn't going to be a 50-goal scorer for them. And
no, he was
Sam
not.
Reinhart, I think you can say quite clearly he benefited from going to a new team and being put in a new place. And he plays with Barkov, which is better than anyone who'd be playing with now.
Yeah,
on Buffalo. I mean, the deal it's a deal in hindsight makes sense for both teams and seems to be working out for both teams, provided Levi's all year long for the next 10 years.
So Sam, here's a question then. Who's the better center that Reinhardt's played with, Barkov or Eichel?
Ooh.
If you had to pick.
I feel like I might, if I'm building a team, probably might just lean
Probably might.
Eichel, like ever so slightly. But for Reinhardt, Barkov is better.
Yeah, I actually agree with that.
Yeah,
think,
I would agree with that,
both
actually.
guys are pretty excellent, and it's just whichever kind of player you prefer.
Yeah, like
'Cause
that's
I think
kind
they're
of
in
the way
same
I
tier,
view it.
personally. It's just I wanted to know
Yeah,
what
like
your
it-
personal opinion was on which guy you'd
Yeah.
lean towards.
Yeah, I would probably, but like I'm also, since the day he stepped into the league, honestly, the Jack Eichel draft was, well, actually, that's the Connor McDavid draft. That's the draft that got me into prospects and sent me
Right.
down the road that has me sitting in this chair all these many years later.
Yeah.
And a big part of it was because when I watched Eichel, I was like, yo, this dude is sick.
Yeah. And
Because he's incredible.
He has
like I've been a
quite
big
sick.
fan of him from beginning. Buffalo, I'm coming for you. It was like the funniest video.
That was
ever.
a great video. I missed those days.
Yeah.
AJ, do you know who Jack Eichel's line mates have been this season? I don't remember off the top of my head.
Kind of rotating in and out, I think.
Yeah.
I would imagine that Ivan Barbashev's gotten an extended look with him.
Yeah.
But like Mark Stone, a lot of the times when he's healthy, is there. It's just
Mark
When
Stone
he's not
healthy?
faking a lacerated spleen just to miss the rest of the season.
Well, it's like Vegas has dealt with a ton of injuries, and it's kind of why
Yeah.
they're slipping right now. Like they're almost in a position where they might, not that they're gonna miss, but it's getting interesting, and they're playing
Yeah.
against St. Louis later this week too, and that's gonna be an exciting one.
So just for the record, his line mates most commonly this season have been Ivan Barbashev all year. So you were right on that
Okay.
one. Jonathan Marchessault is the other guy who's been on his line largely, but he had Mark Stone on his line for a bit of a stretch there in the middle of the year. So pretty much bang on. So
Stone
good for you.
died.
What's that?
And then Stone died.
And then Stone decided to take a vacation for the
Yep.
rest of the season. And game one of the playoffs, he'll be there,
just fresh out of his coffin.
fresh out of the surgery room. But anyway, I mean, do we have any closing thoughts on these two guys? I mean, what an accomplishment for both of them.
I will say that I can't actually, like, it makes sense. And if someone told me years ago, if Connor McDavid helped Zach Hyman score 50 goals, would you be surprised? I'd be like, I guess not, because it's McDavid. But if in a vacuum, if someone was just like, would you ever bet Zach Hyman to have 50 goals? There's nothing I would have bet everything I owned on him never reaching that mark.
Yeah.
I'd be so screwed.
Yeah, I would have said, yeah, not on the Leafs, and I would have been right.
No.
I would have said not on any team in the world. I mean, but like Crosby did not make Brian Rest score 50 goals,
Right. I mean, hey, it's clicking. You can see the game plan with the Oilers with Zach Hyman on the ice, right? You
He
see
definitely looks better than as an individual player, the way
Right.
he fits in with the Oilers and just the way he thrives in this role. He looks
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, he gets to be
so-
a primary shooter, right? Like he was
Yeah.
never going to be that on Austin Matthews' line. He was just going to be the grind it out in the corner. The primary playmakers Marner, and the primary shooters Matthews, and he's the tertiary guy getting sneeze points.
Yeah, it's around-
and now he's the
Yeah.
primary guy.
Yeah, and you know what? For the Oilers, like we thought that contract at the time was a little silly, for Zach Hyman, who, his knees weren't great, and
Yep.
he's a good player, but didn't see a 50 goal scorer there, and it's like $100,000 per goal now for him, which is not a bad return on investment.
That's actually an incredible internal.
Yeah, that's not a bad $100,000 per
All
goal,
right.
which sounds crazy on the surface of it. It's like, here's $100,000. Thank you for scoring a goal. That's pretty wild to me. But in any case, good for both of these guys, two guys that I don't think either of us would have thought would ever hit 50 goals, but here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. So let's take a quick look at the updated look at the playoff picture in the Eastern Conference. So right now, of course, as it was on last Thursday, you got Florida and Boston tied at 97 points, but Boston has played one more game. You've got the Rangers and Hurricanes at 98 and 97 points. AJ, how do you feel about the New York Rangers being the best team in the Eastern Conference right now?
Something about
Disagree.
that makes me mad.
They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're ripping right now pretty decently.
Something about that makes me mad. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's because they shouldn't be there.
Well, you know what, though? I think the Hurricanes get through them by the end of the year. The Hurricanes recently have just
Absolutely.
looked great.
yeah,
Just
they are.
ridiculous. Like,
Remember,
they're-
didn't we do like a thing earlier about like what's wrong with the Hurricanes earlier in the season?
Yeah, probably.
And then it was just like we did end on the whole like, nothing's wrong with them and don't
Right.
really worry about it. But holy, they
The
look
question that naturally
sensational.
follows is: do the Carolina Hurricanes
Win the
win a
cup.
game in the third round of the playoffs this year? Because they have not done that in a very long
Well,
time.
they got to
even
make
though
it
they've
to
been
the
there a
third
few
round
times.
of the playoffs first, and I think they
Well,
will.
yeah, sure,
And provided that they make it there, I think they do. I really like that team, man. I think it's going to be close now with them in Florida. Yes.
For the fourth year running, I would just like to say Carolina are my pick to go to the Stanley Cup Finals.
One day you'll be right. One of these
I've
days
been
you're gonna
on
be
this
right.
for 3 straight years.
Yeah, you'll be right one day.
Once again, I am here pledging my support. I think they're going to the finals. I actually picked them. If you're asking me who's winning the cup, I'm saying it's them. They
That's
are
fair.
my official Stanley Cup pick this year.
I simply cannot wait to do playoff brackets and get all silly with that
I
stuff.
can't wait to
Oh, it's gonna be
realize
fun.
how much I messed it all up within like the first 4 games.
Oh,
of the series.
100%.
Yeah,
That's
'cause
half
you're
the
gonna-
fun.
'cause you're gonna
Every
pick- you're gonna pick
single
Boston over
year.
Toronto and be wrong.
No, that's what I'm gonna do. That's gonna be me. I'm gonna pick the Flyers to beat the Hurricanes just for funsies,
And then it's gonna
that'll be a good. And then it's gonna happen. Yeah, Samuel Urson is gonna have the greatest 4 games of his career.
I love
Speaking of
playoff hockey. God, Montreal finish this rebuild.
speaking of
What's going
Samuel
on?
Urson, the Philadelphia Flyers are in third in the Metro with 81 points. The Toronto Maple Leafs
that's
third
a
in the
draw.
Atlantic. Yeah, 89 points for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So the Toronto Maple Leafs,
And
I would
games in
think,
hand,
are
too.
yeah, they have a game in hand on Tampa. They have 2 games in hand on Boston and a game in hand on Florida. They're 4 points up on Tampa Bay in their division. I get the feeling Tampa Bay's played one more game. Dude, can Tampa make up a 4-point difference and sort of push Toronto into the wild
Isn't there,
card?
like,
I don't
12
know.
or 13 games left.
Yeah, so
Yes.
Tampa has 11 games left.
4
Toronto's
points is
12.
not that much.
It's not that much.
4
Tampa's been
points
better.
is like
They play each other.
one interesting
And they do
week.
play each other. Yeah,
Okay, then there's your
there it
4
is.
point swing right there.
Yeah. So it's
Like,
entirely possible.
I like chaos, so I am on team Toronto follow a wild card because I want to see the whole city fall apart. I am also objectively a bad person.
I mean, hey, if it turns out, honestly, after the last week or so, if it turns out to be a Toronto Carolina first round, I will not be upset. That would
I
be,
would like it just for a change of pace.
Yeah, that.
Like
and I
I'm
feel
just
like it would
so
just be
sick of
insane.
Toronto. I like Toronto, Boston's fine, I guess, but like
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's since what 2016, the only 2 teams I have heard about are Tampa Bay,
Yeah,
Boston,
Washington,
Tampa Bay,
Columbus.
Boston, Washington.
Oh, yeah.
One time,
Oh.
Columbus, one time, and then there was another time, and that time was really good.
well, I'm
That time
excited.
was-
I think it. I mean, the Boston Bruins this year, for some reason, don't like hit me the same way. You know, it's
No, they
like
don't.
they're
They
they're a
don't
bit
hit
more of a
anybody
tame.
the same way, but I feel like every time a team like
But it's
I don't
different,
know.
Sam. There's no Bergeron. There's no Krejci. There's no center. Like there's
oh
no
yeah,
number
totally.
one
Look,
center.
look at the standings. It totally looks different.
Yeah, but they're
Yeah.
overperforming. They are.
Yeah, they are. They are. But
And a lot of those
I mean,
wins
the
come
play-
from early in the year, and a lot of those points come from overtime losses too.
Right,
Don't
they
be
have
fooled
15.
by it.
they have 15 losses in overtime, Mr. McGilligan. That's insane. They have 1 more win than Toronto, and they're 8 points up on them. in the
Exactly.
standings.
It's not.
That's
it's
wild.
not. The difference between those teams is not much. It really is not.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, now, since you're mentioning it, the Toronto Maple Leafs, famed playoff overtime
Yeah.
clutch performers, I'm sure will be able to
Hey,
capitalize
hey,
on such
they-
a weakness.
They won
Hey.
like 4 of their games against Tampa last year in overtime, didn't they? It was like every
Yeah, and John
win except
Tavares'
one, I think.
winner was in overtime.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But the playoffs, I mean, right now it's just getting a ticket to the dance. So the really interesting thing in the East, at least, is the last wild card spot. So right now you've got Washington kind of in control a little bit with 70 games and 79 points. Detroit has played 1 more game and has 78 points, and they've also been still not great in their last 10 games. Speaking of which, the New York Islanders also not great in their last 10. They're 3 points behind.
Man.
Did you see the
Detroit Red
clip of
Wings.
the Islanders all smashing into each other?
I
on
did not.
Twitter?
Oh,
No. Explain.
yeah.
I don't really know what happened. It's just like it's just zero context. The GIF is what I saw. It was just like 1 second, and it was one Islanders player falling on his ass, and right beside him, two Islanders players smashing into each other.
All right. That's New York Islanders hockey, baby. Oh, I see. Let's check in on the Islanders. Yeah. Okay. I see it now. I just Googled Islanders, and that's the first thing that popped up.
I died laughing.
So there, yeah, and it's
like,
just a bunch of dudes
shortly
into each
before
other.
coming here, and I was like, "This is hilarious."
And it seems to, yeah. Oh, and then one's face down on the ice. That's kind of awesome. But anyway, the Islanders are at 75 points and 71. Then I think it's over for the Devils and Sabres, unfortunately, at 74 and 73 points respectfully. Well, the Penguins are
toast.
Any
chance, yeah, man.
Yeah,
yesterday
no,
was
it's
brutal. I watched that entire game, and I was watching it for fantasy hockey purposes because my opponent had Georgiev. I'm like, oh great, I'm gonna get this dub in the finals easy. It's 4-0. They couldn't have done any better. And then all of a sudden, after they go up 4-0, oh, there's a goal. Oh no! And then as the second period's ending, oh, there's another goal. Like, oh my God, Pittsburgh's gonna lose this game. And that's exactly what happened. Colorado came back from down 4-0 to defeat the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I knew it was going to happen. Then Drouin scored to make it 4-3, then McKinnon. And I think it was Drouin again with the OT winner, if I'm not mistaken.
Good.
Yeah. I mean,
as a longtime Jonathan Drouin defender, good.
You feel okay?
Yeah.
Jesse Puljujärvi also with a goal last night. His second of the year.
Yeah,
so,
there
you go.
You got the opener.
How about that, haters? Hello down.
I was so not prepared for you to say his second of the year there.
Second goal of the year in 13 games for Jesse Puljujärvi.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Poor Jesse.
Hey, he looked fine.
What is
but
happening?
He's just a
different
fine
team
NHLer.
drafts him, and it's a whole different story for his entire career.
Yeah.
Then he turns into Zach Hyman.
Spam call on WhatsApp. You ever get those?
I don't have WhatsApp.
Oh, it's like a 12,000
Don't worry, I get
phone
a
number.
million other spam calls.
Hey, do you like cryptocurrency? No, thanks. Anywho, that's just a bit of a distraction of the day. But anyway, so with the Eastern Conference, right? So Tampa's 6 points up on Washington for the first wild card. Washington, Detroit, we went over that. Yeah, like we said, the Penguins, it seems like they are Dunsky. I would say that they can have a fork stuck in them. So Penguins fans, welcome to the show. If you're gonna, get more involved in the draft world, you're in the right place, I suppose.
Yeah, and we'll get into the prospects a little later.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, there's like 17 Sidney Crosbys in this draft. You guys are fine.
Yeah, so many Sidney Crosbys in this draft. Yeah, so many Sidney Crosbys and Zdeno Charas and
yeah. And there's a Michael
Buzz
Jordan. There's Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah. He's in the NHL draft this year. We're gonna flip over to the West real quick, and then we'll move on to the next patch of topics here. So the Colorado Avalanche, the Dallas Stars, and the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets, they're no longer in a three-way tie. Colorado and Dallas are tied at 97, with Winnipeg in third. They've had a bit of a rougher patch, I think, than they're used to in the last 10 games. Connor Hellebuck kind of coming back to superhuman levels rather than, god levels.
But Charlie Lindgren not, as he shut out the Winnipeg Jets in a
greatest goalie of all time.
Herculean effort. It was like a 35 to 18 shot game that Washington won 3-0.
There was a lot of that the last couple nights. Just a lot of really lopsided
ridiculous.
games.
Alexander Ovechkin stole a goal from Connor McMichael.
I saw that. That was hilarious.
That was
such a troll. Great. Yeah, it's what? Like last week on the show, we kind of went through the whole Ovi thing. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of just whatever, man. Do what you got to do.
Don't care.
Yeah, if you're gonna break Gretzky's record, then and that's your modus operandi, then by all means, man.
How far away is he?
40 something now.
49.
49.
He'll get it. If he's dedicated enough, if he plays the next,
if you give him the puck enough, and he shoots it enough, he'll get there eventually. So the shots on goal last night, 27-19 for the Winnipeg Jets, and the Capitals won 3-0. Oof. Ouch. That's too bad.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. What else we got here? In the Pacific, you got the Vancouver Canucks at 98 points. 10 points back of them is the Edmonton Oilers with 2 games in hand, so I think we can safely say that that's going to happen like that.
Yep.
And the LA Kings with 85 points in 70 games to close out the teams that are leading the division. The LA Kings are 2 points up on the Vegas Golden Knights, though. So the Golden Knights are really sort of gunning for that Pacific spot, taking out the LA Kings there, which could be interesting. And of course, the you can't go to U2 Nashville Predators continuing to just roll and roll and roll
Thank
and
God
roll.
for that, man.
Philip Forsberg is disgusting.
The
Dude,
Nashville Predators.
They won me my championship. UC Saros with the shutout and Roman Yossi going off, man. That's what got me the dub.
Yeah. The Nashville Predators, by the way, even though they played 2 more games, they have the same number of points as the Edmonton Oilers. I did not think at the beginning of the season that we would see this out of the Nashville Predators. I know this has been talked to death, but I don't care. It's amazing what they've been able to
Andrew
do.
Brunette
last
is a
year
great
too?
coach.
Or was it
Not
2
Andrew
years
Brunette
ago?
is, yeah.
Not to the same
Like,
extent.
no.
I just think that Brunette is is an outstanding coach. And
Yeah.
Barry Trotz, who in my lifetime is the best coach I've ever seen, picked a really good one to lead the team that he is now the general manager of. So good on Barry Trotz, and it's awesome to see Nashville doing super well.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't make the playoffs last year, but they did have 92 points. They barely missed. And then 2 years ago, they did make the playoffs. They haven't made it past the first round since 2018, but I mean, they've made the playoffs pretty much every year except for last year. But in any case, go them. I mean, Ryan O'Reilly, nice little offseason addition. Philip Forsberg has been ridiculous this year. UC Saros is doing the UC Saros thing. Do any of us see the Minnesota Wild, St. Louis Blues? Well, those are the only 2 teams that could possibly catch the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't see them.
No,
Not
but it'd
Minnesota.
be nice if
Not Minnesota.
St. Louis,
would
very
be
outside
nice.
chance.
Yeah. I would say it's very unlikely, especially because they played another game. I don't know if Vegas plays St. Louis
They
from
do.
here on out.
Yeah, they
They
do.
do.
They played
All
them
right.
well.
Well, there's.
That's my game. That's
Oh,
one of my
right.
games of the week.
Oh, you jotted her down, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, so right now, as we look at the standings, they're getting there slowly but surely. A Boston or Florida series against, well, I guess between them and the Rangers, it's still a bit of a coin flip. There are too many teams that are quite good. 1 point separates 4 teams at the top of the Eastern Conference, which is pretty crazy. But I mean, pretty interesting season. We've been saying this for like well over a month of how interesting this year's playoff
This has been
race
one of the
has
best
been.
seasons ever.
It's been really
in
impressive.
terms
It's
of
been a
just
ton of fun. Yeah.
pure entertainment. I've had so much fun watching a lot of games this year. There was
Yep.
a time where I didn't even know if the Leafs were going to make the playoffs, and I mean now I'm pretty
Yep.
confident. But
I enjoyed that.
I'm sure you did. I enjoyed knowing 100% of the year your team wasn't making it. Sam, how's that feel?
That
Hi-oh.
means absolutely nothing to me. I also spent the year 100% knowing they weren't making.
With a negative 50
But you know
goal
what's
differential,
crazy?
baby.
I did not think that Vancouver would make the playoffs, and if they win tonight, it's a guarantee.
Yeah,
they will have
they can
officially
clinch it.
clinched.
Yep, that's pretty amazing. What a season they have had. Wow. I mean,
Yes.
we'll see how the playoffs go, right? This is just punching your ticket to the dance. The dance is yet to come.
Yeah, I
And,
can't wait to. My favorite part of the playoffs, and it happens every year without fail, is how much fans, for obvious reasons, not like down speaking on them,
Mhm.
how excited everybody gets, how much team, like specific dynamics within everybody's team, everything that everyone could possibly fall in love with over the span of 82 games, and why it's so special to them because they mostly just watch their own team and not the other teams, and how everything gets overhyped. And then you just get to watch about 6 to 7 of them in the
Yep.
span of 8 days just burn to the ground.
Yeah. I love
All of that for a year,
it. Yeah.
just over in 7 or 8 days, sometimes 10, just burnt to the ground.
For my team, it's usually
Like if Vancouver
10.
was out in like if Vancouver is out in like 5 games, that's the media over there.
and
Right.
Be unrelenting, brutal, and hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, but they're gonna play Vegas.
I'm not
right
rooting
now,
for
I
this to
think,
happen.
right?
I
Right.
actually would like to see Vancouver like at least win a series. Like I like Pedersen. Like it's just a mostly likable team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, and I don't want Vegas to have fun at all.
Well, lame.
Are you
Yeah.
one of
Lame.
those haters of Vegas because they won
No.
and got in the league?
No, I've been
Because
a fan
I
of
hate
Vegas.
those people. It's like, oh, I'm so mad that my team has a skill issue and can't win and build a competitive
No,
roster.
I've
It's
got
like,
no issue with
get
Vegas
good.
whatsoever. But like
Get
lose
good is right.
this year. I don't
Yeah.
like you won. I don't care. Lose.
I think they're going to ramp up pretty good. They're actually currently winning 1-0 over St. Louis tonight.
You know what? I always knew they were going to win the cup.
Vancouver, yeah. Now that they can beat the St. Louis Blues, I think they're ready to take the next step as an organization.
Now they're ready to take on me.
What? Did you end a sentence with the?
Me?
No,
Oh,
take on me is
me.
what he said.
Oh, see, we need to find a way to get Sam's audio in my ears and my audio in your ears because that didn't go well. But anyway, Vancouver, LA is the other game tonight. So we'll see how that goes for them as well. If they can clinch a playoff spot. Fellas, Tom Wilson. Let's
Tom
move on to that.
Wilson.
6 games for
He's
the.
never done anything wrong.
No,
in
he
his
hasn't done a
life.
thing
And
wrong
by-
in his life.
His life started like 20 minutes ago, by the way.
So,
That dude like sucks, and he deserves, not as a player, but like the stuff he does sucks, and he 100% deserves this. The high sticking was dumb. How many instances he had this year?
I don't know.
I
Let's
think
see.
mainly
Tom
just
Wilson.
This one is
suspension.
the like this year. It's the one incident. I'm pretty sure.
Tom Wilson. Tom
No,
Wilson
but
has
we
been
talked about him on the show already, like
we?
earlier in the season. Did something.
I think it
I'm-
might have been a hit.
It was a hit.
Was
Who
it a hit or
that
something?
he?
When it wasn't punished? I don't remember.
It was an unpunished hit.
Just for the record, it is his 6th time being suspended since 2017. His first since getting 7 games for hitting Brandon Carlo. I remember that hit. That was pretty greasy.
That was disgusting.
2021. So he's been a good boy for 2-ish years.
He's been a boy who crosses the line every chance he gets and just hasn't done anything overly blatant. And
Right.
even then, he's still done some stuff that's been pretty gnarly.
He's also been fined 3 times. So he's got quite the rap sheet. And he's just lighting $161,000 on fire.
Yeah, he seems
So,
to have no issue with this.
pretty
And
expensive
like it
high
actually like at some point, the most annoying part is like you watch him and you're like, you're not a bad hockey player.
Yeah.
You know, like you're a good hockey player. So like
It's
a good hockey player who plays with an edge and puts like pressure, like a mental pressure on the opposition is
Yeah.
always a valuable thing. So even then I support it. But at what point do you not cross the line? At what
I
point
don't
do
know.
you not become a dude where childhood you would look at it and go,
I get I think it's just like he's one of those people with like they call it the red mist, you know, where just once in a while something
brain
happens.
turns to red mist.
Yeah, and just something, you know, like Nazem Kadri did it in Toronto a bunch of times where it's like when the straw breaks the camel's back, the camel explodes. And then you're like, oh, that didn't go how I expected it to go, and I am now paying for the consequences.
Mm.
There is now camel all over me. And I think Tom Wilson kind of does that kind of thing because, yeah, I mean,
You think he just goes back into the locker room and looks down and says, where's all this camel come
yeah, where's all these drippings come from? But anyway, yes. But yeah, I mean, the question that we posited in the notes was, did he get what he deserved? And I think so. I mean, I don't know if I would have suspended him a ton more for that, but I mean, that was one of the more egregious
Yeah.
high sticks that
It was
I've seen in a long
blatant
time.
as all heck. And also, when you have the rap sheet he does,
Oh yeah,
in the
like-
interest of player safety, even if it's not worth 6 games, start giving them 6 games.
I will
like
say,
once you have this much of a history, it's like, all right, bro, I'm not slamming the book down
right?
unless it's over your head.
That's what they kind of did, to be fair, right?
Yeah, a
That's
little
fine. I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say though, he has kind of, I mean, there was a time in my view when you had to like legitimately be a little bit scared when Tom Wilson was on the ice, like where he was, you know, he was playing to hurt people. I think there was
Yes.
a time where that was kind of the thing that
was
he
a
was
thing.
doing. I don't think he really does that so much anymore. It's like he plays really hard hockey. Like he puts hard miles on himself. He's one of these guys where I'm surprised to look now and find out he's 29 years old. I thought he was like 34 at this point, and sort of just
It explains why he's still functioning.
Yeah.
just a hand. Yeah, he's still functional.
He's like a year or two away from that Gallagher drop off where you're just like, you know it's coming, and then suddenly it's
But
there,
Gallagher
and
was
there's
better.
about
Gallagher was a better player.
yes.
He was.
I agree too, but I think it's close enough that if someone said they liked Wilson more, I actually wouldn't argue with it. I would just be like different strokes for
Right.
different folks.
Yeah, it's just a different style of play, really, is the main thing. And Tom Wilson, I mean,
you know, Gallagher pest, Wilson will try and murder you.
like Noah Gregor, noted pest. Sorry, AJ, you had a thing on the docket on deck there.
With Washington, I always thought that they should have traded him instead of re-signing him, because I really feel like they could have gotten a boatload of assets for him. They really could have.
Yeah,
I feel like you could have gotten 2 first-round picks or something even bigger for Tom Wilson because of the way he plays, and everybody is so enamored with him in terms of his style. Like, imagine selling Toronto on Tom Wilson.
Oh God, yeah.
Are you good over there?
He's signed until 2031. I did not realize that.
Yeah, they just re-signed him.
Yeah,
That's
They
just exactly
just
what we did
re-signed
with
him.
Gallagher.
he'll be
That's what we
37.
did with Gallagher.
Yeah, he'll be
It's-
37
Man,
when
as
that's
soon as I saw that Gallagher contract, I know exactly how the Washington fans feel.
yeah.
Because you were like, oh my God, yay, he's sticking around. But some part in your head went, oh, shoot.
Yeah, like
Oh, no.
I mean, $5.2 million is not horrific, but that's Zach
Well,
Hyman
it's like-
money,
yeah,
man.
that's what I was thinking.
That's
that's
Zach Hyman
kind
money.
of how I viewed like the whole Zach Hyman thing initially. I'm like, well, is he gonna really still be this effective when he gets into his older age? And he has, but that's because his game's a bit different.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is.
Tom
but-
Wilson was only 24 or 25 on the cup winning team.
Looks
or
like it.
23.
Yeah,
Since
He
that was
pretty
6 years ago, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
2018. Yeah, that was a while ago.
Tom Wilson was 23 when they won?
Yeah,
I thought he was like 20.
He was
Yeah, he
my
was a young
age.
guy. He just goes, man. He just goes and just keeps crushing somehow.
You know, I always told myself that I hoped I would never reach the point where like old people would be in a room and they'd be like, I can't believe this player is this old already. And you just look at them and you're like, God, you are old. Please stop speaking about sports. And now I'm like,
Yeah.
not even 30, and I'm consistently all the time caught off guard by this stuff. Someone was like, yeah, did you know 2018 draft guys are like almost like they're all like 24, 25?
Yeah,
Maybe you should try-
they're-
maybe you
they're
should try
my
reading,
age,
bro.
dude.
And I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
'cause
mean,
they're 2000. They're born in the year 2000, like me. Like I'm
Oh my
late
God.
2000, so I would have been 2019 if I would have been drafted. But
Okay, so they're 23, 24 of them,
yeah,
which is ever
Andrei
slightly more
Svechnikov
tolerant.
just turned 24.
oh. Yeah, we're getting old.
Yeah, yeah.
We're getting old, guys. You're telling me I'm the old guy here.
Hey. Hey.
It's the
So
way it
yes, I think we
goes.
can. I think we can answer the question that Tom Wilson did get what he deserved. I
Yes.
just kind of wanted to go to bat because I think he has turned over somewhat of a new leaf, but
kind of.
The next
Old-
time,
yeah, but like
you know what?
the red mist is still there.
Let's
you
go
know?
into the
I get
old
that red
times. The
mist
next
too, to
time
be
Tom
fair.
Wilson is to be
Yes.
suspended, the person who he harmed just gets to do the same thing to him.
Hmm.
It's like you can take the 10-game suspension, or you
Eye
can
for
have
an-
Gregor smash you in the face
Eye
with a
for an
stick.
eye always works for sure. For sure.
That's a way to
Just
display.
ask
Dude,
the
Tom-
ancient Mesopotamians.
Dude, Tom Wilson would be
I
like, "Yeah,
can't.
give me the eye for the an eye treatment."
Yeah,
'cause they're
that's
not-
true. He
'cause
would.
they're not gonna do it as hard because I'll kill them otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so between now and the next show, any games? What's the game that you have your eye on the most,
Well,
producer AJ, for
I
this
said
week?
it.
do you think?
I said Vegas.
You said
St.
it.
Louis. I think that's
Okay.
that's a big one. And,
Yeah. I threw. Yeah.
Oh wait, that's tonight. But also, I had other games. I got confused. But Bruins Panthers is tomorrow, and Capitals Red Wings is also tomorrow. So
Very
those
nice,
Are,
very
those
nice.
are two huge ones.
Panthers was my pick.
Well, that's okay. We can have multiples.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Thanks,
Bruins
AJ.
Pan- Yeah.
It's
I mean,
okay.
I'm throwing out Nashville Vegas because I want to see what they can do. I mean, because Nashville, like, is Vegas really gonna sort of do the rise into the playoffs thing? Is Nashville gonna continue just inexplicably winning and winning and winning?
Who would you take in that game right now, just off of hunch alone?
What, today in Nashville, Vegas?
Yeah,
Nashville.
Yeah, that's what I am
probably
too.
Nashville, and I don't think so. Vegas is in competition with St. Louis. They're probably, I mean, Vegas is winning right now. What does St. Louis's schedule look like? I'm gonna pull it up. I'll pull it up.
But yeah, Sam.
But anyway.
Do you want to go on with your games of the week if you have any other ones?
Well, I didn't prepare other ones. I just prepared a speech about the Boston, Florida game.
Well, then
and
fire
about
away.
the fact that they are
Fire
more
away.
likely going to be the two teams that meet up in the second round of the playoffs this year.
Disagree.
Or at least, JJ, I'm not doing this with you.
Yes, you are.
Not today.
And that is always an interesting matchup whenever you're able to get like the top two teams in the division towards the end and the schedule just kind of benefited out that way. We need to have like a strangle AJ button.
Yeah, like a
You
button
can't
over here.
though.
A remote mute.
Just like a shock collar. You just press the button. He's yeah. So
I don't approve of that. I'm the boss man. I'm not gonna approve that. I'm good.
fine.
No, it's too expensive.
Fair
The
enough.
business doesn't have that kind of money.
Fair enough.
Remote shock chairs.
This feels like a good time for an ad read.
Yeah, please click all of the ads
So we can shock
so that we can
AJ.
shock the
Hit like,
producer.
guys, please like the video.
Yeah, exactly.
Follow our TikTok.
Oh god. Yeah. Well, Canada doesn't
Yeah,
pay on
yeah.
TikTok, so
Oh,
can't do that.
While we're at it, check out my boys who are also on TikTok now, the Almost Sunday podcast. If you like football and some guys who are pretty crass, that's the
Oh,
place
yeah.
to be.
Yeah, crass is where it's at. I don't know.
I don't know.
We try not to. We like to keep it PG,
we
right?
keep it PG here,
I
but
don't know.
We keep it PG.
my buddies
But
are
AJ
in
does encourage me to just get on camera and show my crass. So
his.
I don't know.
I've never once said anything of that sort, but
All right.
if you wanna go on a little heater here, say some crazy things, I'll make some shorts out of it and it'll blow up and
No.
go viral.
Well, maybe we get the opportunity to do that in our next segment with AJ's one day scouting extravaganza.
Yeah, that's.
which we can
I
get
feel
to
like it's time for
for
this.
Sam
All
McGilligan.
right.
So
right.
Sam started off. Who did you pitch to AJ today?
I was asked to tell AJ what two players to watch, and I picked Sam Dickinson because he has the best name,
On brand.
especially on brand. And to keep the brand ongoing, I also picked Nikita Artemonov because I figured the chaos of him not being in the form he was earlier when I talked so much praise about him would be hilarious when AJ goes and sees him and goes, huh?
Have you watched anybody else this year?
I think there was a different player I watched one time.
Oh, okay. Do you
Luke
remember their
Osborne?
first name? What?
Luke Osborne.
Oh yeah, right. Sam and
There's-
Luke Osborne. Right? How could I forget?
I guess that'll be the next one
Um,
I do for Sam is Luke Osborne.
Nah, we can
Sure.
say that one.
Well, didn't we watch him in the off season and you were
I think we
a
did.
fan?
I think we did,
yeah.
but I haven't seen him in a while, so it'd be
Yeah, it's been a while. He's quite the story. But anyway, we'll get to him at
We'll
some
save
point, I'm
that.
sure. So we'll start with what Dickinson,
Let's
Artemonov.
start with AJ. It's his scouting.
Yeah, that's true. AJ, you go nuts.
all right.
Who do you? Where do we start? Where do we start?
Because that's the guy I
All
saw
right.
first. He was fine. Like I watched an MHL game and I watched a KHL game, and in the MHL game for a good long chunk of it, I was more impressed by his teammate at times. I'm trying to remember his name. Is Andre
Krutov.
Yeah, Krutov. Krutov looked really good in
Krutov.
that game. But I realized as the game tapered off, like Artemonov is the more NHL like player, and Krutov is a lot more of a project. But I just really liked what he was doing. But Artemonov's just solid. He tries a lot of things, and I could tell. I'm like, oh, this is why he's a Sam player. It's because I see what he's trying to do.
A
And
Sam boy.
Even though he's not pulling it off necessarily, it's like, but you can see him attempting these these higher end type of plays where he's like pulling it in with skill and
Is
trying
this
to deke
for
guys
the
out.
MHL game you
Yeah,
watched?
the MHL game. Like he was.
That makes a lot of sense.
He doesn't respect his opponents.
Yeah.
Well, there's that, and there's also the fact that the MHL is an unstructured mess, and a player who is trying to do his best, who thrives in a structured environment, is like.
Yeah, I do think AJ's right.
I don't
though.
disagree with what AJ is saying.
Yeah,
Artemonov is not the type of. I mean, it just kind of goes in nature of why I'm interested in him so much is because he's not the type of player who, when he goes to the MHL, he's just going to grab the puck on his stick and start like out skilling and out maneuvering everybody. You'd like to see it, but it's just like it's not really his game.
He definitely tries to, though.
He tries at times. It's funny because I honestly felt like, based on some of the stuff I've seen this year, his skill almost was more effective in the KHL at times. Like,
I
like
agree.
it's crazy how like at the MHL level it was like.
He's much slower. Like that's what I noted in between.
I think
games.
he
Like,
just
I
doesn't.
messaged Will. I'm like, wow, he's already much better in this game because
Yeah.
he's way more engaged and way more into it. And he didn't
There's
really
that,
do much
and
in the
there's-
KHL game, but it's like, and he did score in the MHL game, but
Yeah,
it's the MHL compared to the KHL. It's a world of difference between the two leagues.
It's also it's very. Talk to anybody who lives over in Europe and watches these leagues regularly, and they'll tell you like when a player is moving between pro and junior and stuff, and they think they're a pro, when they get sent down to junior, their play often tanks.
Yeah,
Not
their
everybody, but
mindset's
like
checked.
it tends
They're
to
checked out.
tank. They're just like okay, like I'm beyond this stage in my head, and like especially when someone is gearing up to play at a higher pace against older players, and they go back to their own age group and it's slower, they feel the need to slow down. And in doing so, a lot of the details that make their game work just kind of start to not work. It's a trend you've at this point, 4 or 5 years doing this. I see it with multiple guys every year. Otto Stenberg was a big one for this last year.
Mm.
Remember being so frustrated watching Stenberg forever, and then he went back pro, and you're just like, huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a motivation
He's
thing.
just straight up better here, in every single way that he was in junior.
Because
Yeah.
like, I know when I feel like I'm getting a good opportunity to do something, especially initially, I'm all for it. I'm giving my all. Like I'm 100% invested. But when I feel like what I'm doing is punching below my weight class sometimes in terms of what I can do, it's not as challenging, right? And you just kind of don't put the same amount of effort and passion behind what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's what it kind of plays into because I'm not that far removed from being that age. And I still have a lot to prove him, at least I think. So for me, it's like I completely understand where those kids come from, especially at that age.
right. Yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of right on there with Artemonov. Like I think I was telling you, AJ, earlier that he kind of reminds me of like the kind of vibes that Nick Robertson gives off for Toronto, but like without the sort of insane shooting ability. Like Artemonov's shot is not something I
He's
would
not
say
the
is
same
like
in
a
terms of
hallmark.
pace
He's not.
either.
No.
Well, but I mean, he motors.
Artemonov's pace,
Yeah.
that almost sounds like that's the one game sample thing. The last thing I would critique about Artemonov is his pace.
He goes.
And I will say,
Well, I mean, in comparison
the
to Nick
whole
Robertson.
team, even then,
Really?
man, like you're talking, her first half of the season, Artemonov was the highest pace player on a KHL ace, like
Well,
game in, game out. It felt like.
Well, it's also like in a few years, right? Like it's just that it's like on KHL ice, you have a guy who is he's playing fearless hockey, really. Like you just have a guy who isn't the biggest guy in the world, but he's also not small. He's 5'11". Like it's not like he's,
No.
5'8". Like he's not a teeny boy. I don't like that saying. That came out really bad. But let's just move past it. We'll move past it, move on. Anyway.
But I thought he was fine. Like
Yeah, he's fine.
I can
like
see something, but
he's gonna go like 42nd overall.
Yeah, and it will immediately be one of the
And
best.
you'll probably get like I see him as a guy who has a pretty decent floor, especially with the right situation for him. And the upside, I don't know. Maybe there's something there with him that's a little bit better than like a energy third line guy, like a Sean Farrell type, perhaps. But
I don't know. I just feel like, especially those viewings in the first half of the season, it's not like I'm sitting there watching his recent games and going like, yeah, yeah, I'm happy with this.
Right.
But it's like, I also just remember, like, okay, but has anybody still impressed me more than first half Artemonov? And the answer is like, no, but 3 guys have at least like entered that tier, and Lindstrom is very clearly past him. So can Artemonov be like 7 or 8 by year's end for me? Probably, but I don't really like the way he was playing earlier, the pace that he was, the decision making, everything was great. The skill was great, and little like half-second long pockets, which is all he needed. Puck in, puck out, go to the right spot the next time. He looked like an engine on a line that was doing really, really well. And that whole team does not seem to be doing really
Yeah, they
really
kind of
well.
fell apart a little
That
bit.
whole team seems like they've fallen apart.
I think
That's
they
one of
got-
those like, I don't want to fall into the stereotype, so I'm not going to say like, oh, this is definitely what's happening as an excuse, but like every year, from what I seem to understand, there's just random KHL teams just like start doing poorly sometimes, and like just the league as a whole is just, I don't know, there's something weird about it, and it's
Niche, they were just a really young team. I think
There's
like they're
that
one of
too,
the, I think
actually,
they're the
that's
young,
right.
one of the youngest teams in the KHL.
they gave 2 18-year-olds full-time roles.
Yeah, like, and a few of the younger teams in the KHL have been eliminated. Like Cherapovets was eliminated. And yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible that going from I forget how long the MHL season is, but going from that to long
Longer.
KHL season
And
against
that's
grown men,
much more.
Yeah,
you might run out of gas a little.
Part of maybe the pace thing that I didn't see is because it was also in one of the higher pressure situations. I watched a playoff game against Ska, so
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
just a team that's good enough to like.
make
Although
it,
they were just eliminated
oh
by Automobilist Yekaterinburg. Yeah, so St.
Rolls
Petersburg,
right off the tongue.
no Gagarin Cup for you. Sad,
until,
sad times.
Putin poisons everybody and makes them win.
I mean,
got
you
that
mean
poison in your
glorious-
throat?
You mean glorious leader who 81% of the world loves, or whatever it is. But anyway, I don't know. Yeah, with Artemonov, like, yeah, I just see a really good complimentary dude there. That's my read. And the thing is, like, it's a weird season as well, where I think in any other year, I would think maybe he's a later round, first round guy, not late round, but like late first round guy that you can cool. But in this year's draft, he's like, I kind of know what he could be in a sea of dudes where I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen to these people. Like, I don't know.
That's another part of it is
you know?
like, you basically just nailed it right there.
Yeah, like, who knows? Like, you could go for a T. Ginla. Like AJ, you did T. Ginla last week.
Yeah.
Between the two of them, where are you going?
I don't know.
Right, like either one is, they're back to back on my
I'm
list.
higher on both than I feel a bit more like most people
Yeah.
are. Although again, I guess from like team leak creep is starting to make it into the top 10 for most. But like, for a similar reason, I've got Artemonov's in the range that I've had him pretty much all year, and Iginla is not too far behind in the same tier. And it's just because when you look at everyone else, you're like, hey, I don't know what you are, but I know
Yeah.
what these two
It's
are.
like, I would
Iginla
Pretty
is a lot
good.
younger. He's younger. Artemonov's an 05. Iginla's a bit younger. I think he's a June kid or something like that.
Okay,
June
well,
06.
Then I'd lean young is what I would lean.
That, and
just 'cause of
that's a very interesting
time
thing too,
development.
is like, as is tradition, there's a lot of players that are 05s that are sort of at the higher end of the draft. So Demidov, Buyam, Levshinov, not Connolly, Michael Brandseg, Newgard, Andrew
Just didn't do the
Basha,
voice.
Nikita Artemonov. There's a bunch of them. Igor Chernyshov. So I don't know. This is just me. Liam Greentree's another one. I'm always fascinated by these guys that are the previous birth year in the draft, where they're some of the older players in the class. What are you staring at?
Liam Greentree's in 05.
I think so. Yeah, it looks like it. He's 17.7 years old in context of the draft. He is, okay, so he's born New Year's Day, 2006.
Okay, I was
There
gonna
you go.
say
crazy.
I'm
that's-
wrong. Yeah,
If
New
it
Year's
turns
Day.
out-
my cousin's
I was
born
just-
was born the day before that in 2005.
Oh my God.
It's just kind of
Um,
nuts to me. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
The
It's not
I was
nuts
gonna
at all.
say
It's just-
because we've been ranking Greentree in the 2006s for puck preps. All year.
Okay.
And I was like, if he's in 05, I was gonna not
you would know
address
better
that
than
and
me.
go cover the boo boo. But okay,
Yeah, you would know better than me. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So anyway, Artemonov, I think I think we can move on to Sam Dickinson. So AJ, take it away. Your Sam Dickinson impression, so that we can, finish this divorce proceedings.
Between you and Sam, like
Yeah,
what side do I lean?
Yeah, you're our son, and you're picking which parent to hang out with.
I'm picking Will. I'm sorry, Sam.
It's fine. Trust me. I never wanted you.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God.
Fair enough.
We're on a rip
One
with.
chat viewer just got PTSD.
Oh, man. Yeah, no kidding.
Not me.
Ugh. I got a shiver down my spine.
That's awesome. Good for you, Sam.
Right down into my coccyx. Woo-wee. What?
What?
Yeah, your coccyx.
What's that?
It's one of my favorite words.
Yeah, it's one of your favorite words
your-
because it's not an action. It's not the thing it sounds.
Yes, it
like.
is. Yeah, it's the tailbone. It's the actual word for your tailbone. Like, it's a little bone protrusion that sticks out from the back of your pelvis. It's a little coccyx. COCCYX. It's a
I
great
like how
word.
you have the spelling on demand. This is not the first time.
Oh no, I thought I had my functional.
What are you gonna do? Pull out
No,
your
no,
fucking...
no. I thought I had my functional anatomy textbook down here, which has like all the diagrams and cross sections of every part of a human body, and I was gonna pull it out and show you.
I know you have some models in your ceiling that.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. No. Anyway, moving past that, we're moving past that. Let's talk about Sam Dickinson more. So yeah, where are we going with this? Who is Sam Dickinson to you?
Sam Dickinson to me is a guy who can pass the puck and I don't know. Like I saw a game, but I just felt like I probably should have seen more overall to like really get a gauge on him, but it was like really tough to gauge what he was, other than like there are times where he makes really good passes and like I can see some high level passing that way, but it's just there are also times where I don't know with him.
This sounds like the most Sam Dickinson experience I've
Yeah.
There's not a single person I have spoken to all year long about Sam Dickinson who has not said almost the same thing.
Like
Yeah.
he can pass good, but I don't know what the rest is. It's weird.
This season, this draft is so weird. It is so weird. Like, there are so many guys where I'm going,
Okay, then, and it all depends on the sample because, we had this conversation so many times. Then I told you to go watch that one game and you go see it and you were like,
that one.
within the first 2 minutes, you were like, I have never seen him do this stuff.
Yes.
So it's like, it really depends on the sample. AJ, do you see what I'm saying when I say something like, Dickinson kind of feels like he's got a lot more and he's just not showing it?
Absolutely. He looks like I'm sitting there confused. I'm like, why isn't this guy playing at a much higher level than he is? He has all the tools to do it. Why isn't he applying himself? Is kind of like I didn't really have that realization until you just put that thought out there. But you're kind of right. It's like this guy should be really good. I see that he possesses everything to be good. It's just I'm not seeing him be good with my eyes.
Well said.
I don't blame anyone for being in a situation. I will never be the person to say, man, don't trust your eyes based off some like hooba juba stuff.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Basically, like just made up like ideas about what a player could be and you're just ignoring all the stuff on film. But with Dickinson, it's specifically just because it's a unique situation of like I was very familiar with who he was before the year started. And when I watched him this year, I was like, I see all the parts that I liked in a muted, like restrained sort of way. And then I see this new aspect of him where he's just like, hey, there's my teammate and an enemy, and they're like draped all over each other.
Yeah.
I should just pass in between them and see who wins and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
you're just like, and you're like, okay. But then you watch London and you pick up on other defenders are doing this as well. Like this was something we talked about this about Oliver Bonk last year.
Yep.
The decisions he would make with the puck. I'm not going to sit here and turn this into like a pro like Oliver Bonk thing, but I will say like with a guy like Dickinson, who I've seen use his range, use his reach, get around guys in transition easily with his head up and like change the angle on his passes and not like dangle, but use just great skill and great puck control and great skating ability and just awareness of where his teammates are and what his role is without really ever sacrificing defensive stability and all of those other things you want. And you're like, that's just a really well-rounded player that NHL teams will love, will play in a high role. They will spend time to develop the finer details with him because they don't have to be concerned about the things that other offensive players aren't bringing to the table defensively. Like, he's just someone who you can look at and be like, not only do NHL teams love you, NHL teams won't love to the idea of working with guys like you. You're the ones that they will spend the extra effort in to take a big step. And I've already seen it in a Canadian jersey multiple times, especially before the Holinka. Holinka was good too, but like last year he was just like incredible every time.
Yeah, like if you told me he was great, I would believe it. Like I could see the tools. I see all the elements there to be something really good. But I just don't see it happen. When I just didn't see it happen when I
know it's there. I didn't see it happen.
Thank you. It's like the Demidov thing at the beginning of the year when Demidov was driving us insane because like he was really bad and doing like exceptionally stupid things that you're just like, I don't even mean to but like he was
having a rough start.
Where I watched 3 different games in the span of like 3 weeks where each game, by the time I started the third one, I was just tracking how many times is he going to try and put it through somebody's legs. And he just kept trying and kept failing or skating directly at somebody. Like, what are you going to do? And then they would just, I don't know, hit you, take the puck, knock it off you, like all that good stuff. What?
Never mind. Don't worry about it.
Good old lights. Those types of things. And it's just like, but then Demidov turn around. And then when the players turn around, it's obvious as scouts, we get to see it and we're like, this is nice. This is awesome. Cool. There's often reasons why it's ill-timed and it's not something you want to get in a habit of, but sometimes players just have things go wrong in their draft year. And it's like the worst time. This is the year they get picked. They go from first round to like late second round guys. And then they look back. Remember Elias Salomonson?
Yes, I do.
Projected top 10 pick going into the year. Played like doo-doo the whole year, basically. But like, and like in the most frustrating sense where even the best parts weren't showing themselves in almost any way. Really quickly gains form at the end of the year to make you go, okay, I wonder if, and kind of looked amazing. Every time I've seen Salomonson since. I mean, the flaws are still there, but the things that were intriguing about him are there in spades, and they're back in spades. And you're just like, that's great.
Yeah. I mean, with Dickinson, I guess like I have to believe that any NHL coach worth their paycheck is going to see that guy in camp and go, we can do better than what I was told about you. Like it's pretty obvious that you can watch him play and you go, okay, like, cause you're right. Like some of the time you're going, I don't understand how this even works. Like it's like the London Knights play this like trap style almost defensively. And because even if you say, oh, it's a Dale and Mark Hunter team, you've got to be physical, you've got to be intense. Sam Dickinson is not really that.
No, he's like, not mauling dudes. He's like
he coasts into corners and just sort of slowly applies his pressure. Like obviously not like it seems like it's more about positioning and being ready to adapt if someone along the boards passes it to someone else and he's not tied up with someone. I don't really know.
I get what you're saying. I also lean towards the hope that it's a more methodical thing because he doesn't coast when he's like slowly approaching a player and they get a puck to another guy along the boards. He does get over there quick, but then he slows his approach to them as well. And it's like, is he there to try and deny space and like dictate where they're going to pass for the rest of the team to play, like so that everyone can move? And Dickinson's just the guy leading that, forcing the offense basically to play more predictably for everybody,
right?
Or is Dickinson just kind of lazing sometimes? Is it a blend of it all? The answer is almost always it's just a blend of it all, and you shouldn't.
I guess I just have to hope that a coach will look at him and go, okay,
I'm confident.
I see something there.
Confident in it. I
understand it.
Yeah, I get it.
Think like it's some days I watch him and I'm just so frustrated, and then you go watch like Buium and Frey. And you're like, wow, these guys are just always doing things.
Yeah.
Yep.
So AJ, I assume that means that you would take Mr. Alphonse over Mr. Sam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not close. I love.
You're
I
drunk
love
on the
Alphonse.
sauce with us.
Dude.
All right,
Dude,
sweet.
Alphonse Frey is.
Yeah, on the
That's
sauce.
my guy. Like
Yeah.
that is my guy at this point.
Oh,
I
love it.
love him.
Tasty. All right, sounds good.
It really does sound like something you order at a restaurant.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Like,
Yeah.
I'll take one Alphonse Frey.
I'll take the Alphonse Frey. Yeah. I actually watched a game of Leo Saline Wallenius today. And every time Alphonse Frey stepped down the ice, I went, I like that guy better. He's played 6 seconds overlapping with this player, and I like him more. So yeah.
There's just an energy
Know
about
that
the way he
feeling.
stepped onto the ice.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, before we get to the chat questions from the show, I'll just run through. I think it's been scrolling along the bottom of the screen, but for podcast listeners,
Here, I'll
just run through list the names that I've
There
been
it
taking a look at
is.
this week. Herman Truff, he moved up the board. Artyom Levshinov stayed the same. Zeev Buyan moved down a slot. That was to make room for Alphonse Frey, actually. Again, I'm in the phase of I've watched this guy and I don't like him. Bump him down. I don't like this guy. Bump him down. And next thing you know, Alphonse Frey is at like 6 for me. I don't know how that happened. That's it. 5. Yeah.
You said you had him
Yeah.
5.
Well, what else am I gonna do?
You know what? I
don't
don't.
blame
I'm
you.
just sitting. This is the exact. This is 100% what got Artemonov to 5. So like, I'm not sitting
this
here
season?
doing disrespect.
Yeah,
It's just,
but Frey's way better. Let's just be real,
Yeah.
Sam. Frey's way better, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, Zeev Buyan moved down a slot. Konsta Helenius and Marek Vanaker stayed the same. Both late first, early second for me. Fyodor Avramov moved down. Here's the pattern: Andrew Basha, Adam Kleber, Emil Hemming, Topias Heenanen, Cole Baudouin, Lucas Pedersen, Leo Salim Bolenius, and Anton Salayev all moved down. The guys that the guys that moved up for me were Jet Lachenko, who was great. Clark Caswell, best game I've seen of him all year. I'm getting more on the Caswell train.
send me the date of that one.
Okay.
I've seen greatness flashes of Caswell, and I'm just waiting for that one game where I'm like, I just need to see what it looks like over the space. It's not going to do something.
He's just so
crazy and rank
smart. Like he's
That's
just
it. Like I
you
just,
just
want to
watch
see
him.
the intelligence pay off for the spans. Of
Yeah,
the
I mean,
game.
So he's gonna
It
be a
wasn't-
Leaf, is what you're telling me? Because that's all.
Yeah, the Leafs are going to draft him in the
Oh my
first round, and
God.
everyone. Yeah, I could see it honestly.
Yo,
I could
Clark
see it.
Caswell is that type.
Yeah,
Because
he plays
I-
that
Are we
style of
ahead
play.
of the game finally?
I saw Easton Cowan again today, and like I wasn't
Yeah.
huge on him last year, but he's much better.
He looks. Yeah, I mean, he's
Yeah, he is
again like smart, knows what to do and when, and it works for him. And he's got a loaded team around him. Carson Wetch was another guy that moved up, and Hiroki Gosic with Kelowna moved up. But other than that, everybody moved down. So that's the world that I'm in
And
these days.
Baudouin moved down. Basha moved down.
I mean, I had Baudouin pretty high. Basha, I had really high. I had a bunch of guys just really high, and I was like, eh. Oh, I also took a look at Roman Shokrin, if anyone cares about Russian hockey, which I think there's a couple of people in the chat.
David Phillips.
Yeah, David Phillips. But anywho, before we get to the chat questions of the day, yeah, we'll do our little mid-show ad read. So
God, I can't wait to shock AJ
With what?
grab us with our new
with this
system.
ad read.
Yeah. Anyway, we're brought to you by Fanatics. Now that Sam's done, we're brought to you by Fanatics. You can use our affiliate link code in the description, or you can scan the QR code in the chat window to provide a kickback to the show on anything you buy in the store. You can also support us through Puck Preps Hockey to get all your NCAA and CHL prospect needs. There's the OHL Cup going on this week at Downsview or Scotiabank Pond, the arena in Downsview Park. I might head down there later this week, check out a couple of games down at the, it's just a bit of a trek for me to get to Downsview Park from here, but it would be a lot of fun.
A little bit.
But might be some Puck Preps folks to say hello to there. It'd be kind of fun. We're also brought to you by Fractal Hockey Consulting, which is my business for hand-track targeted player analysis and recruitment packages for the NCAA, Europe, and beyond, with solutions for any organization's needs. And of course, Scouching.ca, where you can get exclusive access to innovative data tools, unparalleled insights into draft prospects, as well as data tools for players making their way into the NHL, and lots of other fun things. Again, we've got some subscriber-only blog posts up there right now, which will be, removing the paywall in the future, but not yet. So if you want access to some thoughts and video clips and everything as time goes by of the work I'm doing, then check it out there. So
Yeah, it supports us. It supports me. I want to make more money.
yeah,
Please
exactly.
help.
Yeah, and
I wanna
Sam.
shock AJ.
Yeah, Sam just wants to shock the producer.
What are you
Sounds
gonna
good.
shock
I
me
feel
with?
like the collar when we buy one, and I promise if I keep this energy up, the only
Yeah.
way is
Oh,
that
you wanna show with the
ideally
collar, okay.
the goal
Or-
is that each one of us get one.
I'm not doing that. I can't do electric shocks, man. Honestly,
It's gonna be like the
it's
Marvin
my
Monroe therapy session in the
yeah.
early
No, I can't handle
Simpsons
that.
episodes where they got the whole family strapped in.
No,
and
no,
Maggie's
no.
just hitting
I'm
all
vetoing
the
that.
buttons.
No, I'm usually okay with things. Electric shocks, no,
Hey,
not
you want to stick a gum?
no. I'm good. But I have childhood trauma from electrical shocks,
Why
so
you
now
go?
I'm
You
all
go to the
damaged.
Ontario Science Center and then your hair.
No,
just like,
no.
Did you sprint head first into a fence that may not
No.
have been zappified?
I was a little baby, and somehow I managed to get my hands on my dad's car keys, and I jammed them in an electrical socket. And apparently, so the story goes. Yeah, I was little tiny Will Scouch, teeny little boy. That's the second time I've said that phrase. I got to stop that.
That's not about yourself, at least.
Yeah, I am talking about myself. I was a tiny little boy at the time, and I stuck the keys in. And what my parents say is that because there was plastic on the end of the key just melted in my hands and didn't shock me, but it apparently exploded. It broke the breaker, and the outlet blew up, and apparently it gave me a little bit of a shove across the room a little bit. So I feel like I have some sort of deep-seated childhood trauma around that. I cannot handle electrical shocks, even little ones. You know that scene from Office Space where you've got him with the he knows that when he
Yeah.
touches the handle. I do that all the time. I just know something's about to shock me, and I just hate it. So I hate it so much. I just want to remove all the door handles from my entire house. I hate it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
wow, that's crazy.
Really quickly, just because we're already here, before we start with the chat questions, and I'll go as well. But AJ, what's your childhood trauma?
Yeah, let's talk about our childhood trauma for the next 15
this guy got
minutes.
shocked, and now he just.
How did you nearly die, and how?
What did you? Let me rephrase this. As a child, what did you do to almost kill yourself?
Nothing. I was a pretty safe child that way. I just
I was
One
not.
day, I just walked out of the house.
One time I stuck my hand in a pot of boiling water.
wait. What?
Nice.
I remember doing that. I was little, man. I didn't know. I was
Dude.
my mom was making craft dinner, and I was sitting on the countertop, and I just stuck my fingers in the boiling
Nice.
water.
No, like
I
don't-
just like
I don't know how you guys like. I was never like that as a kid. Maybe because I was like, I was a preemie and I almost died
was-
before I was like alive.
Oh, well, there it
but
is.
oh, there you go. That's
yeah.
worse.
That might be mine.
You
and
almost
I'm
died
just-
immediately.
and maybe it's just
My-
that I've been wrapped in a bubble ever since, kind of thing, and I'm pretty safe.
You Gen Zers and your
Yeah.
bubbles and your
My
safe spaces.
Yes,
my dad just like walked out to go to a neighbor friend's house and just walked out of the house, and
Mhm.
then I just looked at the door, and I guess this was the day I went, that opens, and just clicked it.
You found out what a
walked
door
outside.
was.
And this little 2-year-old me barely can walk is just stumbling.
Yeah.
And apparently this was over, and this was discovered when my dad was sitting there having a beer with his friend, and he looked over, and they both at the
Little
same
baby.
time saw me on their porch
Nice.
staring like this
Yeah.
into his house.
Oh, nice.
Just like, hello?
Yeah.
Is anyone in there?
I went for a run down the street once when I was a little kid too. My dad did not like that very much.
No, I just got
somehow I escaped the backyard and just went for a run up the middle of the road.
I also
So-
decimated this arm.
Nice.
We'll save this for a different
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
It's a long one.
Yeah.
We need
I mean,
to have
the
some-
90s were crazy, man.
Yeah, sure.
The
Why
90s
don't
were
we
nuts.
just make it a segment? Let's talk. I've got
trauma.
enough significant childhood injuries for each stream for the rest of the year. I'm not joking.
Okay, well,
I have a
then
really
we've
yeah,
got a good
yeah.
segment. We got
Yeah,
good
we got a good
segments planned
segment.
every time you
Yeah,
you
story
come on.
time. Story time.
But we do
Sam's IR.
Yeah, we should move on
we
here
should-
and
we should
get
to
to
our
it.
good viewers.
So The actual people who are here participating. I will say we got 2 questions from Instagram this morning that I do want to fire off. So someone asked about Logan Morrison. Hamilton Bulldogs legend Logan Morrison has been called up by the Seattle Kraken and was curious about that. So I actually watched some Logan Morrison today. I mean, I could see why they called him up. You know, pretty smart kid, really good shot this season from what I've seen. You know, just a good puck mover, just a smart dude. I feel like this is kind of the season where they're rewarding guys that they think should have at least a cup of coffee. I imagine we'll get chat questions about Josh Doan. He was called up by Arizona, likely to make his NHL debut quite soon. And these guys are probably guys that just deserve a look and see what you can do because they're, you know, Arizona's not making the playoffs. Seattle, I would be very surprised if they made the playoffs. I think it's a very big it's not happening. It's not happening. Oh God, Seattle's been brutal. Whoa. I didn't realize they were 2-6-2 in their last 10. And they are 15 points out of a playoff spot. So call up the kids you think deserve it. Give them a go.
Give them a shot.
Get that 10x paycheck. Call it a day. And I think Logan Moore, I don't know. I don't think he's a huge long-term NHL player, but smart kid playing pretty well in the AHL. Anyway. This one's a bit more applicable to both of us. Max Swanson. Someone asked about Max Swanson, thoughts about him. The person did preface it by saying that they like him. They've seen him a bunch of times with Fargo. Just that they don't think that he's going to get drafted, this person. And I would agree. I think it's entirely possible he goes undrafted.
Was it you? It was you who basically gave the Jeremy Wilmer comp.
Yeah, or like if anyone's old enough, Taylor Camerata. Like a guy who in the USHL, I think in his draft year had like 90 points or something, and he was 5'8" or 5'9", and just wasn't the best skater, the most evasive guy, but just, I don't know.
Ryan Fine last year.
Yeah, like one of those guys.
Genuinely loved watching Ryan Fine play.
Yeah.
Big fan of him, but I just knew the whole time, it's like,
he's fine. He puts the fine in Ryan Fine.
Exactly.
How do you define that?
How do you define it?
Yep.
This is tough.
All right.
Are any of the people who ask questions still here?
What?
Are any of the people who ask questions even still here after all this?
Yes. We have to hope yes. But yes, Max Swanson, I wouldn't be surprised if he went undrafted. I feel like he's maybe a guy that you take a flyer on and send to college for 4 years, but I think college free agent might be more my style for him just because I love him. I love watching him.
Yeah.
It's like Gavin Hodnett. I love watching you. I don't know if you're an NHL player, but you're a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
And you're smart. It's a big uphill battle for him, I think. Okay, let's get to the chat questions here. So I just scrolled back to the top. How many E's in Elite does Zach Hyman get?
20.
Well, I'd say
50, right? 50.
2.
2?
Yeah.
Just 2.
Yeah. The first one and the last one.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
No, come on. You know the joke, Sam. It's hyphenated. It's elite.
Yep, nailed it. Do you think the Habs
graphic designer Rayan?
Yes, GDR. Like the German Democratic Republic. That's our graphic designer. East Germany. That's what I'm going to call Rayan, East Germany from here on out. GDR. Anywho, I pulled that one out of my somewhere. My coccyx. Do you think the Habs are an underrated fun team? I mean, is it
depends
possible
what your
to have
metric of fun is, but like they have players when healthy.
They have 26 wins this year, 64 points. Is it possible to be fun?
They've had some good, interesting goals scored against them.
Is that fun?
They've had some good goals scored.
Okay.
They have fun players when they're healthy. St. Louis, here's the thing, and I feel like this is probably why I've noticed this has been a discussion on Twitter because I see Habs Twitter a lot.
Sure.
I feel like the fan base really wants to be a fun team because they're not a good team right now. And we've been, regardless of whether we've been a good or a bad team, for like over a decade, we've been a boring team.
Yeah.
And now we have young players who are scoring and like more skill on the roster than we've seen in a while. And it hasn't really led to wins, but it's like, are we at least entertaining now? And
right.
yes, guys, we're finally entertaining.
I mean, there are good vibes guys on the team,
Yeah.
right? Like Alex Newhook, and I mean, Yuri Slavkovsky's gotten a lot better this season.
I genuinely think Newhook is a fun player in terms of just like watching him. Like, I guess not fun the way like conventional fun.
I think Cole Caulfield is in the middle of a down year. Like his shooting percentage is way down.
Cole Caulfield's in the middle of an unlucky.
Yeah, he's in a tough one. But like it's not like they have bad players, but it's just it's not enough, right? And
they have some fun
no one was ever expecting
and they have fun bad, yeah.
And they were never expected to be a good team this year. Anybody talking about that was either gassing up things that shouldn't have had gas in them, or we're just kind of.
I saw some crazy tweet early in the year, man, where it's like we're a contender.
Yeah, I know. I
right.
Well, I mean,
I don't know if it was a troll or not.
It was definitely a troll. I mean, well, I hope. I can't say definitely. I feel like, I don't know. People were hoping when the Habs were winning games that it meant more.
Yeah.
And it's our yearly reminder that even like mediocre to whatever caliber teams can put together
a couple of games.
Were they?
Or am I tripping? Like they might have.
They
been
just had a
Atlantic
good. They had
to start.
I think they were. They just had good like games at the start of the year. Like all
Montembeau's been good.
Yeah,
he's done a lot for them. But yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at their roster now, and like you're scrolling down. It doesn't take very long for you to go, yeah, they might need to get a replacement for that guy, right?
Yeah,
like,
they needed to get a replacement for over half the team.
Yeah, like you look at this, like Tanner Pearson and Josh Anderson, and even Brendan Gallagher nowadays is just not really what he was.
Brendan Gallagher's not what he was.
I don't mind Jake Evans, but like you probably want more options than that.
Like Jake Evans is fine if he's your fourth line.
Yeah,
guy, and it's like, then you just plug it. The thing is that we have, and this is the other thing with Habs fans, and we can drop this one. It's just like the amount of players that we have spread throughout the roster that everyone seems to be attached to. They're like, yeah, but they're an ideal fourth liner. It's like, yeah, but we get three.
Yeah,
there's
you can only have
fourth liners, guys.
Yeah,
you pick Ylonen and two other ones, and then move on. And then Ylonen is good enough to play up in the lineup.
That's true. Ylonen with 7 points this year. Yeah, maybe a fourth line guy. Sure.
Yeah, he's an exceptionally fast skater who does things and plays kind of responsible hockey at times.
Right.
Like that's a fourth, and he's younger than most of the others.
I didn't realize Jake Evans was already 27 years old. I thought he was a lot younger than that, but he's
Jake Evans is a year younger than me, I believe.
That's wild. But anywho,
wow.
I mean, yeah, I think there is an argument that they are fun bad, But
yeah, they're fun bad. That's fine.
Yeah. There are rumors coming out of Columbus that head coach Nadine Muserol of OSU's women's hockey team could become the first female head coach. I mean, if that's true, then cool.
They got to hire a GM first, though, right?
Yeah, I feel like they're hiring a GM first. Kind of have to, I would think.
It could be Mark Hunter.
But Ohio State's women's team has been exceptional. They have finished first in their conference 2 years in a row. They were the NCAA champions in 2022, and they lost in the championship in 2023. They went to the Frozen Four in 2021. So her track record is excellent. She's won 65 games before this season and lost 14. So, doing okay with OSU, but I get the feeling that, I don't know if I saw any actual, reported news about this. It might just be someone postulating. I would think it's more likely that she ends up more of an assistant coach, maybe, or like I feel like the jump from, women's college hockey to the NHL is quite high. Not saying it's impossible, but also there's no GM, and the GM is kind of this person that sets the tone.
Just feels like the more
reason. But is there a job for a woman on the bench in an NHL team? Of course, if it's how it goes, then great, cool. And clearly, she's one of the best women's coaches in the NCAA because her team just wins and wins and wins. Okay. Bouchard, 85. Evan Bouchard, 85 points over under. How many is he at right now?
I think he's in this high 60s, maybe or
He is
mid
at
60s.
72 points in 69 games. I mean, I'd go under maybe, but only barely. Like,
But under 85
Honestly, might get my
yeah, like 80, he'll cross. I think he'll cross like
Same.
80.
he hits 85 and he doesn't go over and he doesn't go under.
yeah, I'm with Sam.
I mean,
I think he's
yeah,
right
that's
around
true.
there.
Yeah, boosh bombs. You never know, right? Just keep
Well, it's the Oilers power
blasting
play
those boosh
too,
bombs.
man. Like he's
Yeah,
Like it's that, and it's also just like all you need is like here, McDavid. Oh wait, he scored off that one. Add it to the count.
yeah. Add it
no,
to the
but
tally.
to be fair, Bouchard's
He is-
very
I'm
good
not-
when it comes
He
to
is a great player.
playing with the
Putting the
puck,
puck in the net.
but
Yeah.
playing without
I
the
cannot
puck.
believe how good Evan Bouchard actually has become, because I always thought he'd just be like a good kind of offensive guy in the NHL, but like when I see him, I'm like, well,
Right.
everything offensively went right for him. Like every one of those like
Yeah,
red flags or
playing with Connor
concerns went in his favor. Which yes, that is a
And
huge
Zach Hyman.
part of it.
But yeah,
Elite.
No,
where's-
Rand's his mark for Bouchard, and it comes up later because he asks this question. Generational is what he says about Evan
Right.
Bouchard, which I
Bouchard
disagree
generational
with,
question mark?
but
Well, of course. If Evan Bouchard is generational, then
So am I.
95% of the league is generational. Am I right? Ha ha ha. Ha. I don't know. I apologize. Anyway, David Phillips on it already on brand with the random MHL players who no one has ever heard of. Thoughts on Bulat Aksionov of Topar Ufa? I think he's asked me about this player before, and I think I watched him and didn't think there was
David,
much there.
I issue you a challenge officially. I would like you at some point by year's end to actually make up a player and
Yeah.
just blend it in at some point
Yeah.
with players who are real but obscure.
Yeah.
And what a challenge. Yeah, right. You could have me beat 3 times with that by the end of the show. I don't even know why I'm saying it. Like
It's
a
entirely
challenge.
possible. Yeah. I agree with
What's
J
the-
Milk in the responses here. Ain't no way you're whipping out Bulat Aksionov. And yeah, he did. Yeah. It's nice seeing those two go back and forth about players that I think only maybe 4 people on the entire planet of this whole planet of the world
Knows
knows
Yeah,
of
and-
them
and
or
they're two of
cares.
them.
and one of them
And they are 2 of them.
and they are 2 of them. I swear Bulat Aksionov probably is like, wait, my name's what?
Wait, what? Who was talking about me? What show? Who? What's that? Commenters in one stream were talking about me? Holy crap. Anyway, and then obviously David Phillips brings out another one in Bogdan Pestritsov, who's
So
an
he's ahead of the
07.
game. That one's not real.
He is an 07 defenseman for Krasnaya Armia who wears number 65 and has 8 goals in 5 games at the under 18 level this year for a defenseman. So that's fun until you realize the quality of teams at the Russian under 18 level. But I'm sure he'll be one that I'm checking out next year and that David will be asking about every week next year, probably. Who should my dear Sabres select at the 10th overall range? I still feel like we should draft a defenseman. Not sure Samuelson will be as good as his rookie year with all the injuries.
Alphonse
Well,
Frey.
you're probably right on that.
Alphonse Frey.
But they already have like
Yeah,
a
but
bunch of those
But
guys.
they need like I know they'll have another left-handed right side defenseman, but they'll at least
need-
have a defensive first one instead.
Alphonse Frey is not the one I'd be calling a defensive first player.
Well, but he's good that way, at least.
I
He's just
mean, I
good.
don't disagree, but for one, Frey ain't going in the top 10, and for 2, I don't think he's still there by then. But if you get
You don't
Sam
think he's still
Dickinson
there?
at 10, no, I mean Dickinson. I was about to say
okay.
Sam Dickinson. Like I feel like I don't know if you need defenders. Sam Dickinson kind of like I could see 3-4 years from now everything I've been saying about Dickinson, every stream, every time we've ever talked about, every time he gets brought up about like how he's not the guy I want leading a pair, but he could be so good with the right one.
Yeah.
Put him opposite Darlene.
Yeah, I
him
think-
or the other.
Like it works.
Yeah, I mean the other one that I was going to throw out there, if you're thinking like who Buffalo specifically might want, like an Anton Salayev comes to mind, where it's like you don't have to worry so much about offense with him because it's not really there, and you just kind of go, yeah, you can play off of these other guys, he's a good skater for a tall guy. You never know where guys like that are going to end up in a few
My
years.
only concern with that, though I do actually think there's a lot of potential there, is we kind of wondered what they would do with Power and fixing the defensive warts in his games, and he's better at some stuff, but they're still overly there.
Yep.
Do you take Salayev knowing that you were one of the only teams in the league that were in this position very recently, and all of your major progression with Power has mostly been on the offensive side of things where he was already sick?
Right. What are you saying? I'm confused.
I guess my point is, like, do you take Salayev hoping that you can rein him in and make him like a defensive anchor worth taking at 10th overall?
That's the thing. He is that. I watched him today. He doesn't do anything.
Well, I know, I agree, but like
In a good way.
Still, I watched him not too long ago, and he just got walked the whole game and was like,
oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah, like he's not a defensive anchor. He just, like, you hope he is, but like,
right.
and Powers at least has fallback stuff. That's why I took him first. Not trying to like make this like a Power Slide thing. It's just Buffalo is the only team, or one of the only teams, to take a 6'7" defenseman with defensive issues, bring them to the league, see how well they could address them, have addressed some, haven't addressed all. Power's impact is kind of like arguable depending on which side of the puck you care about more.
Right.
And Salayev doesn't have the offensive side to fall back on. You take that at 10?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You take Alphonse Frey. That's what you do. And what I mean,
maybe.
I always think of like defense first in terms of like, because he's a more modern defenseman to me. Like, and that's my idea.
Bad?
No, I'm talking about Frey. Like, Frey to me is modern in terms of the way he plays.
He
right?
is.
So like to me, when I think of modern defenseman, I think of defense first in a way that's kind of maybe a little mislabeled, but I don't know. I just look at him as a good all-around defender.
Yeah. I mean, and I think at 10, though, you'll have a decent choice of, like, I feel like Levshinov will be gone. I mean, I would be surprised. I think Dickinson will be gone. I think he'll be gone by then. Zeev Bouya might be there, but I don't know if I'd target him. Like, if I'm Buffalo, maybe. I don't know.
I don't think if you're the Sabres, you look to draft a guy. I think you look to trade for a guy or sign a guy.
Yeah, never draft for need. You never draft for need. Yeah, you never ever draft for
correct.
need.
Like,
that's the other thing, too. Okay.
Because you can
let's
find
move
a
on.
guy who's going to fit more in your situation. And now you can move on. I'm the producer of this show. Thank you very much. I will pick when we go and do our own thing.
Shock collar, and don't look at me like it's a bad idea going forward.
Hey, I have the ability to mute you guys. You do not have the ability to mute me.
Oh, that's what. Just a little mute AJ remote,
but you can't
for yourself.
You
we can't
though.
Well, I could. If I grab my mouse that's over there, I could put it on the desk.
And it's wireless.
Well,
no. Yeah, it is wireless.
You can mute me.
It's got mad range,
guys,
bro.
But you're not going to mute me for the stream.
I could go on my roof and mute AJ if I really wanted to with that mouse. That thing has range for days. Anyway.
It's awesome, but it has range. If I'm like 10 feet from the USB, it's worthless.
Well, that checks out. Anyway, Pierre Engvall, worst contract in the NHL. I think that's an easy no. There's definitely worse contracts in the NHL. That's pretty bad.
But it's true.
Right, yeah,
it's true.
It's not great. Yeah, no. I mean,
Brendan Gallagher is probably worse.
Yeah.
No, but it's not a good contract, and you're not happy to have it. If that's like, it's definitely one of those ones where every time you look at that one, you're just like, what if we didn't do that?
I honestly miss the days of like insanely bad contracts, like from
like Parise Suter days.
Yeah, like from like 10 years ago when no one really knew what they were doing with the salary cap. God, that was like dudes just signed like $7 million deal. Like, who was the guy that Buffalo signed for 10 years on defense? Christian Ehrhoff. Remember when they signed him for a 10-year contract for like Ville Leno was another one. Remember Ville Leno? He signed
oh my god.
Yeah, I want to know what his contract was. I missed the days. Yeah, a 6-year, $27 million contract. And that was signed in 2011. It was 7% of the cap. So what's 7% of 85? 0.07. That doesn't make sense.
That's not our.
Oh, that's a 6.
The
What?
current salary cap is 82.5 or 83
Oh, okay,
and a half.
82.
Or no, it's 83, I think.
Oh, it's 83. Yeah, 83. So that's a $5.85 million contract on Villy Leno. That's pretty wild. And then they bought him out, I think, like a year later or something like that. Oh, 3 years later, they bought him out.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Hey, I
yikes.
see that
Anywho,
comment about he could fire me if he wanted to. No, he can't. Will never fire me. I
I
am
could.
inexpendable.
I'm not gonna.
Exactly.
But I could.
That's what I'm saying. You'll never do it.
I'm not gonna. Not today. No one better has come along. So
Exactly. You won't find
What
anybody
hap-
better.
Consider me confused. You know what?
Oh,
What?
there's a chat comment that came in.
yeah,
about
chat
it.
comment. Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway, Nikita Artemonov still high on your list. Ish. Yeah.
yes.
For me, he is at where is he here? 13. I probably might have him lower. I mean, but like I look at the guys behind him for me: Basha, Yzerman, Salayev, Greentree, Stiga, Chernyshov. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I do like Dominic Badinka though. He might end up really high on my list, but that's because I'm becoming old and crotchety and boring and watching boring players.
And also because Badenka is very, very, very.
He's good at being boring. Anywho,
I also have raised Badenka up considerably lately.
he's pretty good.
And just the brainwave meme all over again.
Yeah, exactly. We got a guy on edibles watching the show. Congratulations. Hope you're having a good time. We don't
Enjoy
condone.
the ride.
Yeah, enjoy the ride. I don't know what you're doing with your drug trip, but I mean, I guess
Yes, you do.
we can provide entertainment.
I am honored personally.
Yeah, I'm honestly.
I just see
honored.
it
It's
as-
really beautiful. Is there
Thank
anything more Canadian? Watching a podcast with two guys in a basement about hockey that, you know, and you're just on the legal
Pretty
marijuana.
sure that's how I started with scouching.
The pandemic was hard on all of us, man.
I'm like
The pandemic was hard on all of
99%
us.
sure.
Yeah. When Colin Graff could be available and it's for the AHL, or could he be good enough for the NHL? I mean, I would probably stick him in the AHL first, just because the NHL is a big jump, and I think with Colin Graff you do a longer burn.
Yep.
I don't know how much you've seen of Colin Graff, but I've been watching him since before he went to college, and I've always liked him. I've always thought that he's probably a pretty decent bet for an NHL job, but I would give him time to get there.
I just don't know enough to.
Alrighty then. Thoughts on Yegor Borikov? Since I'm googling his name, that should give you a good answer.
Is this a
I
made up
just want-
person? I
Nope.
can't wait until we get to the wait. Who?
Yegor
That page
Borikov is a
doesn't
real
exist.
person. Yegor Borikov is an 05 re-entry from Belarus, playing for Dynamo Shinnik and
Where are you
Dynamo
guys
Minsk.
finding these players.
I don't-
We
Guys, I don't
we
get it.
watched them. Like
I sit at this desk for 8 hours a day, putting data in a database. I have 170 something players there this
Like,
year, and none of them I've never even heard
Where
of
are
Yegor
you
Borikov.
finding these people?
Yeah, like what is happening? What is
How do you find them? What
Yeah.
process?
Are they
do you
from
go
Belarus? Like, are these two guys like hanging out in Minsk, just like chatting to each other about
Is there
Yegor
one
Borikov?
fan who's just organizing all these players? Can you write a comment on this guy's stream?
Yeah.
Please?
Or maybe they're his agent or something, and they're like, "Hey, check out this Bulat Oksyanov guy. Trust me." Anywho, how did you project Luka Cagnoni? Do you think he translates to the NHL? I mean, he was in my first round, as like late first round. I think the NHL is a bit of a work in progress for him, but I like him a lot.
I do. I am also in the same camp. We were just talking about Cagnoni earlier,
Yeah.
and was the Puck Prep chat, I think it was.
Yes, It
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
The read I have is that best case scenario, he's like a really good number 4.
Yeah.
That is more. That will sometimes do the more fun things that make people think he's the number 3, but he's like this number 4. I think he ends up being like a third pairing, like modern puck mover kind of guy that people are like, yeah, he's finally Cagnoni's made San Jose or whatever team he will be making, and like, oh wow, we've got that. We really needed that dynamic ability from the back end, but he just kind of has too many warts in his game to get more than being a third pairing guy.
Right.
But like, he still does certain things really well and would be a good third pairing guy. it's kind of the read that I'm going with in terms of Cagnoni, but like I do see the upside for more. He's a really smart player, really good passer, great vision. And if he ever got a little bit more oomph in his skating, he could then start really turning off guys.
Yeah. I would agree. I think the big thing with him is like, I love the confidence. Like he certainly likes to play with the puck and do stuff. And, like it's almost like what you kind of, not as fun, I don't think, but like the level of puck skill and creativity, like it's like the kind of things you see with like Lane Hudson from time to time.
I was trying
where it's
to
like,
not mention that name,
but it's just like he kind of slows things down a little bit more and like plays it a little bit less like, less like a Volkswagen Golf R or something. If Lane Hudson's the Golf R, Cagnoni's maybe more of like a, I don't know, Mini Cooper, where it's like it's still a fun
Volkswagen Scirocco.
Yeah, it's still a fun car. Yeah, Volkswagen Scirocco. Yeah, with the what's it called when they have all the different colored body panels?
Pretentiously too.
Yeah, what was that called?
Scirocco.
It was like they're really valuable now.
Cars?
No. There was a Volkswagen used to do a color scheme where all the leftover panels that were different colors, they would just put them on a car and sell them. So like all the cars had like a different color scheme.
Oh yeah.
I genuinely don't remember.
I swear
this.
I swear I saw a car like that.
Yeah. Anywho, doesn't really matter. But anyway, yeah, like Luca Cagnoni, I think it's like if the skating catches up to the confidence and the skill level stays with the confidence, then yeah, there's going to be a lot there.
He plays like someone who wants to just have that bit more skating.
Yeah.
Like if he had it, he would be so good.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, where do we go from here? Oh, have you seen Tikhon Shakalov, another Russian playing for Amur? I actually was watching him last week, maybe because David mentioned him. I didn't think there was much there. He scored a lot of points as a defenseman for Amur. Amursky Tigri, if you're unfamiliar, that's the junior team that plays in Khabarovsk on the east coast of Russia. So that's just a dandy place to play hockey. Okay, what else do we have here? Someone's learned. The guy who was on edibles is learning about scouting from Exploding Camels. Trust me, they're all over the place in the business.
What?
Yeah.
Oh wait, we were making that. Oh, yeah, never mind. We blew up the camels.
Sorry. Yes, we blew up the camel. The straw broke the camel literally in half. Where does Matt Rempe go in a 2020 redraft? He was a 6th rounder. I would guess the 2nd round.
7th.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going
I don't know. How much do you
now.
value someone who's going to accidentally decapitate someone with his elbow?
He has played.
That's why they paid Tom Wilson like crazy, even though he's really good too. It's like they're gonna. He'd go high.
He has played more NHL games than Jean-Luc Foudy, than Robbie Yarventi, than Sean Farrell, than Marat Huznadinov, Daniil Gushchin, Emil Heinemann, Emil Andre, Justin Sourdif, Tristan Robbins, Shakir Mukhamadullin. He's a better player in the NHL than Shakir Mukhamadullin.
Okay, hold on.
Consider that?
How many PIMs does Rempe have?
Almost as many as time on ice.
54. He has 54 penalty minutes in 12 games.
How long until Marat Kuznetsov gets 54 penalty minutes?
Like,
that's a very good question.
5 or 6 years.
Yeah, he has 0 PIMs this year. I've loved watching him, by the way. He's so much fun to watch.
I checked in.
Yeah, he only has 1 point, but I don't care. He could score 2 points, and I don't care. Jimmy Crackhorn, I don't care. He could be the next Trevor Lewis, but Trevor Lewis is still an LA King, and he's been there for a gajillion years.
Scored 1 point. I would be his fan.
It was the sickest point I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, let's move on before we make bigger fools of ourselves. Could Matthew Rempe be the next Tom Wilson? No, he's not. He's
close.
Yeah. Someone mentioned the next Scott Wilson. Maybe. Yeah, he's the next, like, I don't know, Rafi Torres, right? Like Steve Ott, maybe.
Colton
just
Orr, Fraser McLaren.
Colton Orr. Yeah,
Steve Ott. Yeah, in 10 years, when his career is almost over, Montreal will trade for him at the deadline for a cup run.
Yeah, Matt Rempe is something, really something. Okay. Oh, and then there's a lot of yelling about Matthew Rempe. Okay, cool. He has less skill than a lamppost. I like that one. Once he controls his frame, he'll be able to elbow guys in the head with a lot more accuracy. His stock's going up. Man, those edibles are working on you. Okay. Oh my God, Sean Cosgrove with making me feel old. That someone born in 1989 can run for president of the United States now. Like I could run for
brother can run for president.
Yeah, your brother
of the United
could. Well, he's not
States of
American, right?
America?
Your brother, I assume, was born in Canada.
I mean, I wasn't there, but he could have been.
He could have been born in Canada.
Yeah, I wasn't there. Supposedly,
do you not know where your brother was born?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah. He was born in ironically, we were actually born in the exact same hospital room by pure coincidence.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah. Anyways,
Sean Cosgrove.
Go for it, Sam.
McMaster Children's Hospital.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
McMaster. Yeah, I've been to that hospital. Not because I was ill, but I went to school there. Anyway, let's move on. Sean Cosgrove, changing the subject, suggests Malaysian-style public canings for the producer of the show. So I'm not totally against that.
I'm completely against that.
If it keeps people in line in Malaysia, then it can keep us.
He's not even on camera.
No, I know.
It's just like happening off camera.
We'll just play that scene from Starship Troopers where what's his name, Rico, is getting his lashings, and that we'll just overlay.
God.
This is getting so dark. All right, let's move on.
What is with you guys wanting to shock me?
You
and
wanted
me?
You wanted short content
because you asked for it. Matthew Rempe doesn't even bend his knees when he skates. There's a lot of Matthew Rempe comments.
Matthew Rempe only bends his elbows when he skates.
Sean Cosgrove also asks Sam to bring back the casual pink shirts, the Miami casual pink.
Okay, that wasn't supposed to be a thing, and
Yeah.
like I guess at this point I'll make it a thing. But like,
sure.
How about set an alarm Monday 6:30?
Weekly reminder: wear the same shirt. Who should I be hoping to drop to Montreal at 5th overall? Berkeley Catton, Ivan Demidov, or Caden Lindstrom? And if they're all gone, is there another forward, or would the best player available be a defender?
It would be really unfortunate if all three were gone. That's all. I
cannot imagine they all will be.
I also cannot.
I think Catton is going to be the Zach Benson
Catton
of this year.
1000% falls. I think
Demidov.
If Michkov went 7th, then anything can happen to Demidov.
Yeah.
I don't see Montreal passing on Demidov, but gentlemen, fellow Habs fans,
they're going to take Michael Brenzeg-Nugard. I've already figured it out.
Drinking shots of copium every morning I wake up.
Just chugging it back, eh?
Just chugging it back. And I feel like I've got a pretty reasonable read on the draft. I don't really get excited for my team's picks anymore because doing this too much has just sucked the emotion out of it.
Hey, David Reinbacher looking okay with Laval.
Dude, I was excited for one Leafs pick, and it was when they picked Rodion Amirov, and then
and now he's dead.
And then ever since then, it's been downhill.
Sadness, yeah.
I mean, they picked good players actually, but I've always been disappointed because this is not the guy I wanted. But they ended up fine. It's just
I set the alarm.
This is why we can't have nice things, you know. This is the curse of the show. Anywho, do you guys think that Niels Höglander could crack 30 goals by the end of the season?
Absolutely.
I don't think he's at 22. He needs 10 in 10 games.
If he was on a power play, he could crack it. Like he would have been able to.
I guess.
Oh wait, this is end of the season.
End of the season. Yeah, no.
I think he can crack 30 goals in a season if he gets power play time. But
yes, agreed.
Watching Emil Hemming, and I'm wondering about comparables and figure he'd be somewhere between Joel Armia and Christian Vesalainen. That's a big gap.
Armia,
I like Vesalainen, but whatever.
Armia had like the whole thing with Armia was one man Armia because that guy would just show up for half a shift and just suddenly look like the best player on the ice with this crazy skill, crazy just ability to play off the body, great physical resilience, and then he would just kind of, fade away afterwards, right? And I don't know if I've ever seen Emil Hemming pull off a one-man Armia sequence.
I think Hemming is a pretty low upside guy. I think he's a guy who, he's got some size. He's a little bit of a strong boy. He can shoot pretty well, and he skates well. But You want to see him like he doesn't touch the puck a whole lot, doesn't really do a whole lot with it when he does.
Yep.
You know, he's a physical guy. I get the feeling if a team just wants a, decent forechecking complementary guy with some pace in his game, then sure. But I don't think he's a guy where you're giving him a ton of responsibility, at least not right away, maybe down the road. But I mean, I've done 6 games of him at this point. And I don't know. He started the season where I was like, oh, okay, I'm kind of into this guy. And then it just kind of faded away over the year. What was the first year you started tracking prospects, and who were some of the favorite players that you had ranked high compared to other lists? I mean, really paying attention, I would say the 2019 draft, so 2018. I started doing data work for 2015 and just kind of was messing around for a few years. And then said, you know what, maybe I should actually watch these guys play because a lot of this numbers-based stuff is wrong. So I decided to just make more numbers. Yeah. I don't know. So yeah, for me, it was 2019, I would say. I loved Alex Newhook that year. I thought Alex Newhook was a ton of fun. I'm going to have to pull up my list, though. Sam, what about you?
Ironically, 2019 is also the first year I tried to do this. I did not have the resources required to do this properly. And when you're scavenging for resources, even when you're trying, you kind of just end up making a fan list. When I look at that, that's what I see. I see a fan list from someone who wanted to see a lot more film than I did. I really liked Vasily Podkolzin.
Nice.
I had Alex Turcotte 3rd overall.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Turcotte, we can give a little bit of a pass.
Yeah,
to,
Turcotte was a lot of injury. Like, he definitely should have been.
So, for the record, here was my... Yeah, he is.
I'm happy about that.
So, for the record, here was my list for 2019. I had Jack Hughes at 1, Capo Caco at 2 because I'm foolish, Bowen Byram, Alex Turcotte, Kirby Doc, Dylan Cousins, Cole Caulfield, Trevor Zegras, then Podkolzin, Kaliev, Boldy, Newhook, Cam York, Brink, Ryan Suzuki. I do like that I had Connor McMichael in the 20s. His average rank was 34. For some reason, I had Sam Poulin in my first round. Quebec, learned your lesson there.
Yeah, you did.
Nick Robertson, I had at 23 that year, so that's pretty handy dandy.
I remember my list just enough. It was maybe everyone else was outside one order, but it was pretty set in stone. It was Hughes, Kako, Turcotte, Byram, Podkolzin, Cousins, Caulfield, Doc, Zegras. Man, this is getting rough.
You're naming like 3 guys that
Boldy.
One is associated with the Habs and like everybody wants them, and then 2 guys you already have.
Boldy rounded out the top 10, and then I remember specifically it being Newhook, Krebs, Soderstrom, and then I don't remember at all what happened at 14.
I'm also going to shout out Dominic Fensori at 39 on my list. That felt like an insane.
If you asked me in
take at the
2019 what's a Dominic Fensori would have been my response. Like,
Would you?
I only knew like the first round guys, but I did spend a lot of time trying to learn everything I knew about them.
Would you believe me if I told you that Dominic Fensori was born in a place called Bronxville, New York? Dominic Fensori just screams a New York name to me, and Bronxville is like, you may as well just call it like New York in New York. Like, anyway,
New York.
We'll move past it.
And for me, it was 2021.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're still here.
Yeah, I am still here. You haven't fired me yet.
No, not yet. Okay. Yep. David, obviously, I knew he was going to speak up with a Herman Truff mention. When I'm in a projectable forward competition and my opponent is Herman Truff, that's a true statement. Thoughts on Beckett Seneke? How do you evaluate someone like him who's gone through a significant growth spurt and the coordination hasn't fully developed yet? I mean, it has to be factored in. Seneke's a guy where it's like he doesn't really do a whole lot, and then there's like 1 or 2 plays in a game where you go, holy crap, that was awesome.
Yeah, this was all. I remember me and you talking about Seneke a lot, where I was constantly just being like, I don't really get it, and he's also not really the player. Like, I remember seeing him last year through the puck preps work and having notes on him, watching him this year. I saw him in background viewings last year, so I hadn't like fully really processed who he was yet. saw him this year was like, this isn't what I wrote about him at all. What is this?
Right.
Dude? Didn't realize that he hit a huge growth spurt because I didn't remember that he wasn't that size last year. And then I was like, oh,
Yeah.
You start to see the uncoordination in his game. A lot of things started to make sense. Somewhere about, I don't know, 3 months ago, 2 months ago. Seneke had one of the most insane games I randomly saw. It was so good. He moved up like 20 something spots by default, which doesn't really happen that late in the year. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, ooh, that guy's going to be very good when he gets comfortable.
I'll probably have him ranked lower than he'll go, but I would not be surprised if he developed really well and became something pretty like a really good complementary scoring forward.
He's starting to give that vibe of like the player that just develops exceptionally well.
And he gets it, right? He's another one of those guys who just kind of doesn't overthink a lot of the game. He just goes out and executes. He's got a pretty good shot, pretty good on his feet. Like
great hands and starting to use
like
his
you can
reach.
see something there. It's just, going to be up to him, really. I don't know. But I like him. How would you compare Chernyshov and Podkolzin in their draft year? I would say Podkolzin was a significantly more physical player.
Chernyshov is like an insanely skilled player.
Yeah, he's very finesse oriented, and I think that's Podkolzin's kind of Achilles heel is that there's not a tremendous amount of like finesse in his game. It's more I'm going to drive the puck into scoring areas and sandwich myself in between two defenders and get a shot off. That's kind of generally. So I think Chernyshov maybe is a bit of a more tactical defensive player, whereas Podkolzin was more of a I'm going to get you kind of guy. I don't think they're very similar. Which prospects intrigue you coming into the CHL postseason, as well as other leagues postseason hockey? I mean, that's a loaded question for the end of the show.
Ooh, baby.
Was that the last question?
No. I mean, like we're coming up to 10 o'clock, but there's just a lot there's a lot you could say. I'll have to think about that.
What?
Like,
I'll
there's
give
a
you
lot.
one. Sam Dickinson.
Yep, Sam Dickinson's a great one.
This would be the time for him to, kind of secure the belief that some people are still kind of not sure whether or not they're supposed to give him yet.
Yeah, I'm checking, but I will be very curious.
I also think Michael Hage. Oh wait, no, Chicago's not going to make the playoffs.
No, they're not.
I keep forgetting.
I don't think so.
You just assume you hear Chicago Steel, you think playoffs. You know?
I don't think they're in a playoff spot.
No, I don't
they are. Oh, they are. They are in a
now?
playoff spot. They're up 4 points on Cedar Rapids, so they've kind of gotten better this year.
Okay.
But anyway, I was going to say Aaron Kiviharju, but because he hasn't come back yet, and his team is still in the playoffs. I was hoping. I mean, I guess he'll play at the under 18s. I would think if he's healthy.
Yep.
But I was hoping because I remember them saying he was probably a February return. But anyway, do you think Konsta Helenius can be a play driver on his line and take care of offensive transitions, or do you think he's a complimentary guy?
I just don't think he has the speed.
Yeah, he's gonna need to be. I mean, I think if anything, he's a pass first play driver because I don't know. AJ, we'll get to Konsta Helenius at some point. But I do not know. I do not have a clue. I don't know. Again, like, it doesn't really matter what I think because I know I don't like him enough where he's going to go where I don't have him. So it doesn't really matter. I think that he's a smart player. Like, he's very smart.
Yep.
So moving the puck in the right direction at the right time, certainly a good thing for him, I think. Yep. But yeah, I don't know. I still get the heebie-jeebies about him. Wondering how you would grade Greentree's pace. Not great. But it doesn't really matter. He kind of works around it.
Mental processing and stuff. Like, he keeps up with the game itself in every way. And then those little feet on the bottom of his body are just like, yeah, but we don't want to go there.
Tiny body. His little feet and his tiny body.
His big body.
Big body.
Like, he's just... someone is giving him like lead skates or something. And he's just... If he had any bit more speed, he'd be such a sure thing to be like a high impact NHL player.
Oh, I could see him turning out to be great.
Zero questions I have about his mental pace in any situation on the ice. This guy reads. Windsor is like trained him for like disaster level like approach to the game.
Yeah.
He's gonna play with a good team and be like, oh, whoa, look at this.
Good plays from his knees per 60. I think he does that quite high relative to other people.
Absolutely, which makes sense considering the feet.
No, yeah, I know. I like David Phillips' comment when I mentioned Roman Shokran. When I'm in an unprojectable toolkit competition and my opponent is Roman Shokran. Very true. Guy with fun skill, and he's very lanky, but that is about it. Did I get superpowers from nearly dying as an infant? No, I got super fears. When I'm being the other Vladimir Tkachuk.
What if you touch electricity and you actually could like harness it and you just don't know because you have fear?
I've touched electricity before, Samuel, and I can.
Yeah, but you feared it. You ran away from it. What if like you held that stick of shock gum and just went, I have the power.
Wait, gum?
You didn't get the little shock gum from your friends when you were a kid? Like they'd be like, hey, you want a stick of gum? And then you'd pull it and then you go, and you go, ah.
No.
What?
Is that some Hamilton stuff? Like Hamilton kids?
No, it's not.
Oh, I didn't know.
What?
No, we didn't.
I mean,
we weren't. No, well, you know what though?
But...
No, in elementary school, we weren't allowed to have gum. I feel like that was something that was
neither
banned.
were we.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Well,
you weren't allowed to have
those
Pokemon
rules.
cards either.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I went to a tiny little school for tiny little boys. Okay, let's move past it. We'll move past it.
Yeah,
we'll move past it.
We've approached 10 o'clock now.
Yeah,
let's rapid fire.
Someone recommends the movie Requiem for a Dream. I have seen it. I really don't want to see it again. Thoughts on Scott Wheeler's new rankings? We can put a pin in that, I think.
Didn't really see them.
Okay, so Sam didn't see them. I did. I have thoughts.
I'll see them for next week.
Yeah, next week we'll go through them again. I'm sure there will be other rankings that come out, maybe even mine by then.
Maybe even mine.
How is a player who scored 116 points in the draft year while not having many flaws not ranked consistently in the top 5? Who would that be? Who has 106? Oh, Tarek Parasak, I think.
Well, wait, sorry. Can you reread the question?
How is a player who has 54 goals and 62 assists in their draft year while not having flaws not ranked consistently in the top 5?
I mean, the question, I don't
think it's
to say this
Parasak.
politely, you're kind of phrasing it pretty untruly. If he didn't have any flaws, we'd all be like,
oh no,
yeah,
Berkeley. Berkeley Catton is this player. This person is referring to. Berkeley
I apologize.
Yeah, no.
Because
he's not big.
I couldn't tell you. I think Catton's a slam dunk pick for number 3.
I did not realize he had that many points this season to finish the year. That is outrageous.
I was gonna start blasting some poor guy.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, I mean, it's
all
he's not,
size.
Yeah, it's size. Yeah. And he's not like an elite speedy center,
Because
really.
he's a tiny boy, all right?
Yeah, exactly. A tiny little boy. Start, bench, or cut in terms of potential.
Oh.
Will Smith, Lane Hudson, or Shane Wright.
Wait, sorry, say this again.
Draft or start, bench, or cut in terms of potential.
No,
Will
you
Smith,
pick
Lane
one-
Hudson,
you
or
pick
Shane
one
Wright.
for each.
So
What? Yeah.
Will Smith.
So you start.
You start Will. I think you
I
start
think
Will
you start
Smith.
you start Will Smith.
I think you bench Shane Wright and you cut
Yeah,
Lane Hudson.
I think you do.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But
Yeah.
like, let's put it this way.
Twist my arm.
You are cutting Lane Hudson, and then you're gonna look over at Shane Wright, and you're thinking, "I know you're gonna make me regret this," you know. But like,
yeah.
there's just something about what I just said that makes me feel dirty.
Let's continue.
It's 'cause
I
you-
love
it's 'cause
Lane
you want-
Hudson.
It's because you want Lane Hudson to work more.
Yeah.
Than you
Can I
want
make
Shane
Lane
Wright.
Hudson the coach?
No. You
Yeah.
can. Hey, you can bench Lane Hudson. It's okay. You can cut Shane Wright. Nobody's gonna judge you. I'm not gonna judge you. I went back and forth in my brain because I saw that
Yeah, so
question.
did I.
And I'm like,
So did I.
how do I want to approach this? And I'm like, I think I cut Lane Hudson, but it's close.
Yeah.
Justin Poirier scored 50 plus goals this year. How good could he be? I don't think he projects super well to the NHL, but he's fun.
Projects well.
He moves his feet a lot and he shoots a lot. So that's fun.
Baby.
Yeah. How much has Easton Cowan exceeded your expectations in his +1? I mean, yeah,
notably.
Decent amount.
I would say he has a decent amount. I mean, again, like smart as heck.
Still
plays
not
the right
the
way.
pick I'd make there, but like notably.
Yeah, I still think I would go with a different player, but he's been very, very good, and the Leafs again, doing smart things. How good has Gavin McKenna been? I know it's a 2026 eligible, but his production at this age is unheard of. I mean, he's a very, very good player.
I wouldn't say it's unheard of, but he's insane.
He's on track to be one of the top guys that year. I will never, ever, ever jump on that bandwagon this early, though. I mean, I like Gavin McKenna, but watching him this season, it's like he's still got a bit of a ways to go. Like he's
yeah, but I also
well.
I think when he comes out swinging next year, it'll be very interesting for the Puck Preps team to figure out as we go back and forth on McKenna and Michael Misa all year.
Yeah. How about I ask Will about a random MHLer that I already know you like? What's the skinny on Timur Cole? Lanky Russian defender. I like him. Shoots the puck good. Still needs to work on a lot of things. Maybe a mid-round guy you take a swing on, but I like him. He's all right. Thoughts on Sam Dickinson? Yeah, we went through that. Thoughts on Anthony Romani? I watched him not too long ago. I didn't think there was much there. Another random guy, Oleg Trofimchuk. No idea who that is.
That's not real.
Do you scout AHL games? Did you see any David Reinbacher this weekend? Any thoughts? I did not see a ton. I watched a little bit.
I saw a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't watch like the full thing, but I made sure to pop in and watch some, and I was like, okay, yeah, he definitely needs to be here, and I hope they can really work with him and may bring out all the best in his game. And that's just another one of those. Like I'm a Habs fan, man. Like I will happily be wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Have you watched Cameron Schmidt from Vancouver? He's a 2025. I love Cameron Schmidt. I have watched him. I think he's great. I think AJ would love him too.
Is he speedy?
Yeah, he's a speedy boy.
Excellent.
Who are your early favorites for 2026? Shut up, Brian. Have you got to see any Ronald's?
Early favorites for 2026? Please go check on puckpreps.com.
Yeah, that's true.
Plug.
Plug Puck Preps. I'm not answering any questions about a guy playing in the top Latvian league. No thanks.
Will's become way more selective. When I first got to this place, it was
I can't.
You'd field every question.
And go through I'm over it now.
Answering like 8 questions about Vasily Podkolzin in the same night.
Yeah. What draft prospect is each of your favorites forwards for this season? And you can't pick the same one. I'll let you go first, Sam. You get first pick overall.
Rephrase that one. Sorry.
Who's your favorite forward prospect this season? Can't name the same one. You go first.
Damadov.
Berkeley
I'll take Catton then.
Oh,
yeah, Berkeley Catton.
Damn.
Oh, right. You're here too. I forgot.
Yes, I am.
Okay, you can take Catton. I will.
It's not wrong to say Celebrini here.
Yeah, you could say Celebrini.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
like if I wasn't picking Damadov, I was.
Yeah, Celebrini falls to 3. I'll take that.
I just didn't want to be basic. I didn't want to take Celebrini.
Right. How far do you think we are from a 4 forward, 1 defenseman at 5-on-5? I mean, I'm all for it.
A billion years.
I don't think it ever. I don't think it ever happens.
I don't think it ever happens. But
put it this way, when has you seen the top soccer clubs start playing like a 3-4-2-1 or something?
Well,
this type of stuff just doesn't really.
You see some teams do it when they need a goal at the end of a game.
That's and that's like, I feel like the hockey equivalent is you yank the goalie and you still have hockey's just too fast paced for one person to be on the back end, and there's too many ways to counter numbers advantages. Just all you need to do, you don't need to come up with this crazy play. You just need to find the timing window on one player who's getting the puck, pinch him, chip at that puck, hope it luckily springs free. Sometimes it will, because that's how luck works. And now you have a potential numbers advantage against one guy every time. What you're realistically saying is how much more offensive does the one defenseman get?
Also, Marner, so Brian commented about Toronto having technically a 4-forward 1D configuration with Marner playing at right D, but he's playing at right D. He's not playing forward in those instances. It's like, there will be.
I'm all for that.
That's cool. I'm with that.
I'm ready to party with that. Let's go.
At the same time, it's like there are some instances where there are defensemen out there that act like forwards, like Erik Karlsson.
Right.
Erik Karlsson cannot defend most of the time. he did well in the beginning of the Colorado game, and then he went back to being Erik Karlsson the rest of the game, and
Yeah.
it was not great. But
Yeah.
I just don't see it happening in the sense that they're going to deploy it that way. But I see more of a positionless style
Yeah.
of hockey, like not entirely, but we see
I just
guys
feel-
step
yeah,
up into
like,
the
just-
play and do their own
Yeah.
offensive thing, and then forwards cover. Like
Yeah,
don't
just
need to have
better
a-
rotation.
Exactly.
Easton Cowan looks good, but so is Gavin Brindley. That's the gospel for me this year.
Exactly.
Could Joshua Waugh win the Calder next year? Probably not.
Nope.
I think there's just way too many guys that could come in and do well.
But if he does, I'll
Um,
eat my shoe.
There's a show. AJ eats his shoe
With a shock collar on.
with a shock collar
Getting
on.
lashed like however the Malaysian thing
This
was.
is
whatever
sad.
it
This
was.
is the Malaysian public
Oh,
canings.
man.
Anywho, let's move
That
on.
was unhinged.
We'll get through these real quick. What's your opinion on pulling a goalie in overtime? Happens a lot in the KHL. Finally happens in the NHL. What was it? If you pull your goalie in the overtime and you lose, you don't get the point, right? Was that the rule?
Yes, so long
Yeah.
as it's not on
So
a
that's
delayed
awesome.
penalty.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that was a thing, but awesome. I mean, I love to see it. Go for the win. Always go for the dub. Oh, and that Latvian player was made up. So they did trick us with a fake name of someone in a random league. Okay, so I'll be more vigilant about that next time and do my studying on the Latvian top division.
Kudos to you.
Yeah, kudos. Any chance Beckett Seneke ends up as a big guy with little guy skills? Yeah, I mean,
He kind of is already one of those players. He was a little guy with skill who's now a big guy who's relearning.
and this person is really obsessed with Matthew Rempe. I don't know. Saying I don't want a team that hits, which no. Anyway, yeah, no, I think Beckett Seneke could easily end up a big guy with small skills, you know, good in a good way. Who would be the best coach out of us? And then we'll end here.
Out of us,
None of us.
I think I'd be the
I'm
best
insulted.
motivator, but maybe not.
I
The best
think I'd-
coach.
If you don't score a goal, I will throw you in the garbage. That's
I've always thought that not at like the highest level, but like if I don't know, I feel like I can communicate well. I see the ice.
you see this? I don't want to see that ever again.
You'll do this one more. You do this one more time, I'll get the shock collar out again.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh God.
Oh man.
Oh
Rempe
boy.
will
All
be
right.
fighting. Will be cage fighting in Tajikistan for pennies in 10 years, is what J Mulk just said. God damn, that made me chuckle.
Oh God. This is a good time.
And on
Well, at this
that
rate,
note,
Matthew Rempe is
yeah.
going to win the Calder next year over Joshua Waugh.
He can't though.
Anywho, can he not?
I don't think so. It won't be.
No, Rempe would be
He won't.
under the games
Will he
played limit,
be?
right? I think so. He's only played 12 games. Like Nick Robertson is eligible for a Calder this year, I think.
Yeah, he's not.
Anyway,
unfortunately.
Whatever. Well, yes. Anyway, that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Once again, we are brought to you by Fanatics. You can use our affiliate link. What the heck are you doing over there? You can use our affiliate link. This is the most unhinged show we've ever done. You can use our affiliate link in the description, or you can scan the QR code in the chat window to provide a kickback to the show on anything you buy in the store. You can also go to Puck Preps Hockey and get all your NCAA and CHL prospect analysis that you could ever want, and then some. And then we're also brought to you by Fractal Hockey Consulting, which is my business for targeted player analysis and recruitment packages for the NCAA, Europe, and beyond. And of course, we're brought to you by Scouching.ca. You can subscribe to Scouching for exclusive access to innovative data tools, providing unparalleled insights into draft prospects and players making their way into the NHL. So, thank you very much, Sam. Thank you.
Thank you for putting up with this unhinged show.
Yeah.
Don't go ahead and get sick again. That would be nice. We
I
would
would
see you next
also
week.
like to not get sick.
We got to get
Suck.
rankings out for next Monday, and then we'll AB it with Scott Wheeler and
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
without inviting him on the show, we'll just talk behind his back and make fun of him all night. I'm just kidding. We won't do that. I love Scott. Sorry. I apologize. Anyway, AJ, thank you very much for producing the show as
Job.
always. And yep. And we'll see you Thursday afternoon, 2 p.m.
Yep. Good night,
I
everybody.
guess that's good night.
Good night,
Au revoir.
everybody.
Go Leafs, go.